Hello, everyone. This is Defense Politics Asia, and can you hear me? So, can you guys hear me? Hello. So, this is the open mic, the episode 6, or the sixth edition of the open mic. This time now is for the Patreons only, and so just now I saw someone was in the backstage, but he disappeared. So anyway, hope you guys are well, and a lot of things happened. Can you guys hear me? If you can say put one or something, just tell me. Mm-hmm. Can you guys hear me or not? What I'm drinking Red Bull, low sugar Red Bull. I can hear. Oh, that's cool. So it's almost 12 midnight for me, which is why I'm drinking Red Bull. Because if not, I cannot. I cannot take it. Oh, why I5D say it's disgusting. So Bjørn Sponberg is in the house. Let's bring him in. Hi, Bjørn. Give me a while. I forgot to put my earpiece. Hello. Bjørn, can you hear me? Oops.
Yes.
I cannot hear you. Bjørn, I cannot hear you. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, I can hear you now. So as I was saying, today is the open mic for the Patreons only. So if you guys want to join, you have to become a Patreon. The link is actually in the Patreon. So talking about that, I think I should remind people that the stream is on. And so hi Ryan, hi Ifadi, hi Baba, hi.
Hello.
Hi Chit, hi Bjørn. Can you hear me? Am I? Can you guys hear me now? Why it feels like nobody can hear me? Hello. Yeah, should be able to hear me. Comedy show is on. So give me a short while. I need to go and remind people that the stream is on. And how do I do that? Live now. So, Bjørn, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is what I'm called, Bjørn Sponberg. I'm from Norway, and I'm originally a scientist, a biologist, genetics. I have 2 master degrees one in molecular medicine and a second one in bioinformatics. And I also have a bachelor degree in electronics and IT. And I have always been interested in politics, but the recent years, I have connected science with what's going on in politics, with thermodynamics. So that's when I really got engaged, because what I'm seeing is evil, that human life are starting to grow evil features for the very, very first time on this planet. for the very, very first time, because it is linked with thermodynamics, energy context. I'm from Norway, so it should be worse. Here is the first sign of evil, according to my theory. And that's how I connected these things, that when it's the constant abundance of energy, there's a biologic law saying then evil features will win over good features for the very first time, because you can remove the chaos and humans can themselves control nature in a way. So what I'm saying is that nature is actually good, even though it sometimes can be bloody, and you can see the truth in nature. But what's behind the lie, and the lie becomes strong when you have too much energy, as in Norway, or in this deep state thing, where the tax money is pouring into a closed system. You will also have a constant abundance of energy, and then you can start sustaining the lie. You can keep, because a lie demands energy. It's not efficient to lie all the time. You need to create an artificial wall, an artificial world of lies, and it costs a lot of energy. But what's scary with this lie is what's behind it. And that's what I'm saying. With math, it's pure evil, actually, but we can't see it. It's very hard to see it. But what I'm saying is that Russia sees it. But it's very hard for the rest of the world. The rest of the world are very confused. You're very confused because they look so nice. NATO, we just want to have peace. We just want to help a little Ukraine. We just want to help the little one. But what I'm saying, Russia, but I have a scientific approach, which I won't spend a lot of time. But now you know why I'm here. But I support Russia. I actually also support the Eastern Europeans, because according to my theory, they have not yet become the evil side. They have not, because they haven't adapted to this overflow of energy that we have in the West. That's where the first evil, that's a spear of evil in the West first. The rest of the world, they haven't developed yet into this energy context. So they are in danger as well. The Ukrainians, they are in danger as I see it, because they're going to get fucked over by NATO eventually.
So it's actually it's very similar to the theory that we have too much peace. There's another theory, the more common what people used to say, that the societies have a lot of peace. So good times produce weak men, the kind of idea. And it's the abundance of resources, the lack of challenges, the lack of danger that is causing people to have a wrong sense of reality. And I think it sounds a lot like that how do we get this peace and this abundance of peace and prosperity, and which actually clouds our mind, seems to relate to actually energy abundance.
Yeah, and people must realize, those that are not educated in neurobiology, for example, Norway, we have Nobel Prize even in neurobiological research in medicine. So the Western countries, before, they ruled the world with physical weapons. What I'm saying, now they are ruling the world with psychological weapons. But we can't see these weapons, these methods. They are tricking the whole world. And NATO, what I'm saying, they use NATO as a wrecking ball to create this global state. According to my theory, then this will be a global state run by the most evil persons on the planet, because that global state is going to be run by NATO and Stoltenberg and the usual masters on the planet, and see how they play the woman, the race card, the woman card, and how they. But there is one thing they need is to remove the chaos, because the chaos is your freedom. So actually, your freedom is their biggest problem, because chaos is your freedom, and they need to remove the chaos in order for them to have full control over the planet. And that's their aim all the time. With the climate crisis, we need to come together. The UN, and now recently, NATO has started to being concerned about aliens and UFOs and stuff. We have a potential threat from out of space. And again, you see the natural response without them having to telling the rest of the world. Then we need to come together on this planet in order to protect it against this threat from. You see this pattern all the time. They just want to conquer. They want to conquer everything. And the same is going on. And Russia and China, if Russia and China disappears, NATO, they're just going to run over the rest of us. So I'm saying Russia is our last piece of defense. And I suspect they know this. They have seen how evil the West really are. And the ones that really, it's not a normal average person that sees this, and in particular not the woman, but it's the white conservatives, their political opponents. And Stasi from the 60s, they really captured the whole idea when they saw Stalin using violence to control their people. Stasi thought, hey, that's not a good idea. We can't have global control if we're going to arrest people, we're going to shoot people with a lot of blood in the streets. No, we're going to go under and use psychology. And they created this phrase, Zersetzung, where they start to use psychology to kill or get their political opponents out of the game without anyone knowing it. And what I'm saying, they have just continued on this path that actually was created by Stasi in the 1966 or something. I think they have just so now they have created this image of them being the nicest persons on the planet. But the truth is they're actually worse than Stalin. And that's my goal here, is to wake people up, and in particular young guys that not feel very comfortable, for example, with the pride movement. If there's something wrong there, you don't really like this movement, you don't really like feminism, I can assure you, they know they're gonna get you. You're gonna get on their list, even though your feelings are not very strong. But if you just have this small concern that you feel about, for example, this pride movement, this new globalist thing, be aware, because you're their enemy. But they're never going to show you. They're coming slowly. And they always use psychological warfare methods. There's not blood of drop. It's not one drop of blood from the good side in the West now these days. But that's just because they only use psychology. And that's it.
It's the same as the pandemic, right? It's similarly, they're using the pandemic as, or the threat of a new virus, to bring the different countries or societies together, or to one government kind of thing. It sounds very similar as well. To build fear, right?
Yeah, but it's very hard to prove this. But what I do, I prove it with math. I prove it with science. According to my theory, they are the most evil life forms that have ever lived on this planet. They are even worse than the Nazis in the 30s. These, according to my theory, and if we can see it with math, with science, I think it's the only way you can actually identify them. because they are so clever in psychology and playing nice, putting smiling woman in front of them. When you see a woman smiling with breast, you think of your mother. It's like these deep psychological things that they have doing research on for 50 years. While we were eating dinner, watching Simpsons, and get marrying and getting our kids, they were at their universities doing research on this deep psychological patterns that drives your mind. So most people, they have no clue. But I say Russia knows. Russia knows.
I think that this ties up to a bit of what happened in the United States, where they have the culture war, right? Because it is also what the conservatives is fighting against. All this, what is weird, theories that they're trying to put together, to try to put humans to not operate in a very natural way. For example, LGBTQ movements, there are such people, but to so-called popularize, normalize something like this is not exactly normal. It's like, yeah.
Well, I think, but they play your brain around. They play your brain around because I want people to be free. I don't care if people are gay. What I'm saying, what is scary here is what you don't understand. It's the lie that they are good people, that they just want to have peace and fairness and come together on. That's the lie. That's what I think it's scary here. I don't care about if people are gay, or people can be free. That's not the problem. The problem here is there's a new breed of humans that are more evil than we have ever seen, and in front of them, it's just smiling faces. Good, then let's come together. Everybody, for example, and taxes is their fuel for the lie. Taxes. If you remove the taxes, if you go down, if you remove most of the taxes down to 15%, for example, 15-20%, they're gonna get crazy, because then you take away this wall of lie, or you remove the fuel to the lie. And chaos, they hate chaos because they can't make this wall of lies in chaos. They need to have abundance of energy, and it starts here in Norway. What we say, and we see how we are not many. There are some of us, but mostly they go after conservative white males that don't really like feminism or don't like to come together. That typical left subject. But we see how they try to remove the chaos all over the planet and get people together. But what I'm saying to all the people in Asia, all the people in Russia, all the people in Africa, all the people in South America, you're gonna get fucked. And your freedom is their problem, because chaos, they can't control the chaos. And that's what they're trying to control by coming together, because we're going to have such a nice time together. No, because your freedom is in their way. And NATO, watch up for NATO now, because now NATO used to be a defensive organization, which probably was a useful organization, but now they turned it into a wrecking ball, starting to wreck out Russia and eventually China, and after that, the rest of the world is screwed. You can laugh, but and that's how good they are in psychological warfare. And if you look back, how could we be so stupid when the whites came with? They came here with oh, we were so stupid back then. We should just have draw back and attacked instead, and stuff like that. But now they're coming again, and you're just laughing and you just scratch your head. What the fuck is going on here? And they are screwing you once again. But this time they come for the whole planet, and this time there are no way back. If NATO and these whites and the deep state in West, if they manage to take control of the globe with a global state, then there's nowhere back. If you figure out after that, oh fuck, they screwed us, they fucking torture us, they kill us, they just treat us like garbage, well, then it's no way back. It's bye bye baby. But I try. But this time I come with science and prove this mathematically, actually, that they are actually evil, but you can't see it because they just put in front a lift up African woman and you can't. They don't spill a drop of blood ever. And it was Stasi's. It was Stasi's core idea back in the 60s. They only use mental methods and weapons. And when they're going to destroy you,
published this?
They also.
Have you published your paper
yes.
on this or the maths? No.
Yeah. 3 papers, but I just published it from home. I just published it from home. If you have the link, not via university.
If you have the link, do send it to me. Then I can actually take a look at it. Then then it will be easier for people to understand where you're coming from, because you're saying, oh, this you use mathematics to prove this thing, but we haven't solved the mathematics. So which is why this is a bit hard to catch for people. So
yeah.
But I do share certain views, but of course not in the good and evil kind of sense of things, but it's more towards like that the Western powers have their own interest. They want to keep control of this global system that have been benefiting themselves, the Western powers, the Western countries, America, Canada, whatever, so long. But you see, the world is pivoting towards Asia because of the population changes, the demographic changes, and then so there is this need. I feel that from the Western side that they need to do something to try to hold control, but they are seemingly struggling to do this because they lost the leadership in United States. I think the appearance of Trump has messed up all these things. I believe if there is a plan, if it is a plan, then I think this thing is messed up. And the fact that the Trumpian movement has been doing so well is actually causing the West to not able to gain the influence. The US has already lost a lot of its influence over a lot of the countries around the world, which is why I think is not moving that sense in that way. Hi, Vaun.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I brought some guests with me today. I brought the Ghost of Kharkiv and Biolab Boris.
High human condition. Can you hear me, human?
Yeah, you hear me?
I can hear you. I hear you fine.
Oh. It's so weird that I call you human. They're like, hey, human.
I didn't catch the beginning of the conversation, but I just going by what I heard. I live in the States and I live in Trump country for all intents and purposes, and I will say that the whole Trump movement has probably helped in some ways make people in the West realize that they need to kind of pull back from the brink because there's a lot of bad shit going on in the world, and our government's got our hands in it, and it's just leading down the wrong path. Mm-hmm. I think there's a lot of people waking up to that, and it's not just around the world. I think it's in the United States, but we're not going to see any big changes here until after the election. And if it doesn't go the right way, it's just going to get worse.
So I want to highlight, we can talk about U.S. politics, but we try to avoid too Trumpy things.
Yeah.
Because I think the last open mic we talked about the U.S. election, and then that video got demonetized.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. That's fine. I mean, I'm just saying that. I mean, there's a good movement going on, but it's going to have to go through elections and all that shit to get sorted out. So I wouldn't expect any big changes in the United States until after next year.
I think there is this. I mean, it more ideologically. The yin and yang, So it's basically physics. With equal force, come equals reaction, and I believe that it in this world, right? Be it what Bjørn just gone. I think he lost interest. By what Bjørn said, he was he talking about good and evil kind of thing, and then he's talking about like how the certain people in the West are actually evil and they're trying to push this globalist thingy. But I feel that it's from history we will always see that it's not very possible to forever win. There will always eventually be enough reaction to actually stop it. Yeah, so just in case he's still hearing, just want to share that, so he shouldn't worry too much.
Well, on that topic, not many people were talking about Putin's speech a couple weeks ago, the annexation speech.
Okay.
Whether he was genuine with it or not, it shows where the Russian people's sort of morals are at. And I just saw rumors online that even in their training pamphlets, it's saying you're up against the global one world government, you're against Satanism. I mean, he called out the West for Satanism. I mean, the morality of Russia, it's on the up and up. So they're coming out of a sort of depressed period of time, after the collapse. You hear all the Russian immigrants in the U.S. They talk about Russia very negatively, but they were coming from, the early 2000s, the 90s. Right now, It seems in terms of productivity and morality, Russia's pretty conservative. And
yes, very.
It's also not talked about a lot why Ukraine even needs to hold on to these 4 territories. I mean, people say it's, they don't want to have someone come in and just take their land, but I think a lot more of it has to do with the GDP and productivity of those 4 regions. Those 4 regions are way more conservative, hardworking, productive peoples. If they lose that, Russia makes a huge gain, 5 million hard workers. Ukraine loses those 5 million. I think a lot of it's tied to productivity and morality.
But it's kind of weird because I always thought that how are you going to subjugate all these people to to pledge their loyalty to Ukraine anymore? After you have 8 years of conflict, I just thought that is so weird.
Oh, I was just going to say, like he was talking about the whole, I guess, attitude of Russia and how they're fighting and what they're standing for. I mean, it kills me because I look at their messaging and I'm seeing like, damn, that's what we used to stand for. That's what we used to say we stood for, religious freedom and, people having the choices to make decisions about their life. I mean, it's not that open in Russia yet, but they're going in the right direction. It's like they're swinging back to where we were, and I'm not talking about racial issues and slavery and all the crap that went on back then, but I'm saying they're kind of swinging back into the 50s where they're proud of their country, they're hardworking, they're putting their nose to the grindstone, they're uplifting family and traditional values, whereas in the West, and especially in the United States, a lot of it is just swung into the complete garbage pit of just, you see all this shit. I don't have to say it. There's so much degeneracy out there, and you look at where Russia's going, and it's like, it's weird for me because, you know, I grew up in the 80s and it's like, oh, the Soviets, you know, they're godless heathens and all that. And it's like, they may have been as communists, but now they're not communist anymore. And they've obviously changed and they're trying to do the right thing, it seems like. So it's just striking to me to see how much we've gone towards, you know, authoritarian fascist degeneracy, and they're swinging, you know, to basically righteous traditionalism.
Yeah, that's kind of why my enthusiasm for Trump dropped off a little bit, is because I think we see what, like Putin, for example, he's saying things that Trump should have said.
Yeah.
And I think Trump got pushed around a little too much. You know, Trump would have, I don't know if he would have, I mean, he certainly isn't now, but if he was still president, would he be not militarily, but would he be rhetorically siding with Putin, or would he be rhetorically siding with Ukraine? I don't know the answer to that.
I think that's a pretty dangerous either way. I mean, I supported him. I voted for him twice. But in my heart, I feel like if he was president, we may be in a direct conflict, because he was very assertive and boisterous, and if he didn't follow through, he's going to get called out. So it's like, you know, would he have stuck with Ukraine? Would he sided with Russia? Would he stayed neutral, or would he have been a hard ass and demanded some kind of negotiation? I don't know. Or would we be having a freaking shooting war with Russia right now? I mean, he was good in the sense that he was unpredictable and it worked for him. But in this case, I think that unpredictability is a liability too, because you don't really know what he would have done. Because he was pretty, you know, hyperbolic about what he would say. You know, if you invade Ukraine, I'm going to nuke Moscow. You know, if you invade South Korea, I'm going to nuke, you know, Pyongyang. And they don't know if he was serious or not. I don't know if he was serious or not. I would like to think he was just, you know, talking shit. But I think his personality, there's a better chance of us of getting into a war by choice up front versus with Biden stumbling into it and destroying the world.
Yeah, I suspect that would be the case, you know, because he would definitely be making very big threats, and then while trying to negotiate. But
Yeah.
you know, we all understand that for Russia, this war is inevitable. Like for them, they have to go in, and so then that will cause this clash, because you know Trump cannot step back, but then Putin also cannot step back, and Putin have to step forward. Yeah, so you know, I think you have a point there. You know, Trump being around might actually cause this conflict to be bigger.
Yeah, it could have been good. It could have been bad. I think it's 50-50 with him.
Well, honestly, I don't think Russia may have waited a few more years if Trump was still president. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
because I think Russia isn't big on, you know, soft power throughout the international stage, right? They're more focused on their people. They're not spending dollars influencing.
Yeah. Their backyard is what they worry about. Their backyard. They don't.
Yeah. So I think if they were to do this during Trump's presidency, it would have risked too much loss of support from the Western conservatives. I think right now they're in the best scenario to have the most support from Western conservatives, even though it's still relatively low.
But I also think that Trump will not have, Trump would have just, said that, oh, we will never accept Ukraine to NATO. And then you put Putin into a difficult position. I think Trump will just say that because for him is that he's willing to just say anything as long as he gets his objective, which is no war. And this is how he managed to deal with Kim Jong-un as well. That he can manage to like when Obama hand over to him, Obama was saying that this is going to be the most difficult task on your hands to Trump, and then Trump just make it like it's nothing. So because he managed to make the deals, and follow through with threats, and it worked out. I believe that maybe he will not have agreed with Ukraine joining NATO because he's a pragmatist. He would just say that there's no point having Ukraine. So
he was already complaining about how NATO wasn't pulling their weight. So why add another dead weight country that's not going to be able to contribute? So
exactly. So there is this this dual situation. It's an interesting situation. So today's topic is by right is actually about the Russian counteroffensive. Are we going to face nuclear war? Although it seems like the nuclear war is less likely now compared to 1 week ago when I was trying to do the stream. But seems to be coming soon.
Yeah, I was going to mention that, that last stream you did, and I think it was right before I went on vacation, and all the talk about nuclear war was going crazy on the media. And you were like, if nuclear war is coming probably in the next few days, you should probably just go ahead and enjoy your life because there's not much we can do about it. And then I went on vacation, and I'm sitting there, I tried to ignore it, but then some shit came up, and I, of course, had to check, and it's like, damn, I hope Wyatt wasn't right about enjoying my last 5 days. But you're right though that's one thing that's hanging out there. I don't think some people really don't appreciate how dangerous that cloud is that's hanging out there right now. I mean, I guess as a teenager, I was well aware of what was going on. I think I'm more worried now than I was ever then.
Can I say something here? What? First of all, Biden. I don't know him personally. He seems like a nice guy, but I don't think he really runs anything. About the nuclear war.
I couldn't hear anything.
I'm saying just that I don't think it matters what Biden really thinks because Biden isn't running shit.
Oh, I agree. I mean, but still, I'm just saying there's people around him that think
but
they can win a nuclear war.
I think you need to have the earpiece. If not, that there's a lot of echoes. No.
Me?
I think so. I'm not sure who is the one that's having the problem with the.
I think it's Bjørn.
Yeah, but about the comment about Biden, it was just a little. Most of us agree on that Biden is usually our president is usually a puppet, but in particular Biden compared to Trump, he's involved. He's run through walls to get where he is. Biden is kind of, we pick you because you like Africans, and you say, hey man, it's not. Biden is more of a seller than Trump is a that's actually a bit ironic that because Trump wasn't a professional politician, but Biden was. But in my point of view is that the real true political guy here is actually Trump before Biden. But about that nuclear threat, I think there are so many smart people on this planet, also in the States, in the NATO system. And
I hope so.
But it is, of course. We're still smart. Everyone just doesn't get evil like that over 2-3 generations. But I see this trend that's their development, that they're starting to gain more and more power over the good guys. But I think actually Russia believe in their narratives, and I think actually people in the NATO system and USA over time will actually agree with Russia and Putin that the problem here is actually the deep state in the West and NATO and USA. And I think they will actually stop this nuclear war because Russia ain't starting it. I don't think so.
I don't either. I think if it happens, it'll be some dumbass on our side that does it. It'll be, they'll react to something or overreact, or, like our President Biden, he likes to, I'm sure you've seen clips where he's like, I'll take that guy behind this woodshed and whoop his ass. I mean, he's really not the guy to be around those buttons. And, you're right probably about a lot of smart people, but I'm just saying there's people around him that like John Bolton and shit that think you can win nuclear wars and, I'm going to kill Putin and get away with it. It's like, they're just going to let that shit slide. I mean, they may not nuke us over it, but, you want to start popping politicians and take your chances. I mean, who do you think's better at doing dirty work like that? The CIA or, the FSB, walking down the street, get stuck with a fucking plutonium umbrella and that's it.
But I think the longer this conflict, the longer the time this conflict drags out, I think Russia actually will win for every second. I think actually more and more people will buy into Russia's narrative, even though the Western media is doing everything to sabotage it. But I think actually the truth will win.
Yeah.
I think eventually, slowly, I think also these smart people in the West that really runs most of the Western societies and have the power there, they will eventually see this dangerous situation with this, I hope, this evil new breed of humans that are actually are grown up in the West now these days.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue in the West, especially in the United States, is just getting people to disconnect from the Cold War days in the Soviet Union and that perception of Russia versus where Russia's at today. Because I mean, that's probably my biggest thing is you still them fucking commies. It's like, dude, they've been commies since '91. I mean, yeah, they may have aspects of that type of government still in place just because it works for them, but they're not communists. It's like China is not communist. I mean, they may communist-ish, but they're obviously capitalist and they have a command of control economy, whatever you call that command.
They're like
so
ants.
I mean, I think
they're
people
like ants.
There's a lot of people still living in like 1980 thinking, oh, we got to beat the Reds. And, you know, it's like we're so far away from that. And I think that's another thing. Like all these old Cold War heads, there's still a lot of them in the wrong places. And it's going to take a while to get that shit out.
Those old communists, China and Russia, they're like ants. They lived in chaos. They never went out of nature.
Is North Korea even communist anymore? I mean, Stalinist, I guess.
They live in chaos. They come from nature. They live in chaos. They can call themselves communists, but they live in chaos. There are too many. It's like ants, and they are healthy. But in the West, we slow things down. We're not living in chaos anymore. We can grow this lie. Because we've been so clever in the West, we have started to beat nature in its game. We have started to create abundance of energy, slow things down, get more and more control over the chaos. And that's what I'm saying. That's when the evil starts to grow. And that's their natural enemy. The communists, the left side in Asia and Russia, no, that's their natural enemies is the left side in the West because they have another energy context. Because the Asians and Russia, they're like ants. They're good. They live in chaos. They can call themselves communists, but they haven't adapted to the energy context that makes them evil as we have in the West.
I'm going to bring a hot take in right now. So as far as the counteroffensive, it's a loaded term because I don't think, that Russia's finally just starting to mobilize now, like you said several times, Wyatt. They're just starting to get into it now. They haven't really sent a true version of their full power until now. They're starting to roll it out. So, and then as far as nuclear war goes, I'm personally not worried because I'm not convinced that the nuclear capabilities of any country or even the topic of nuclear weapons is as fleshed out as they make it to be. We have no proof as citizens that these weapons even exist. I think it's looking back at World War II, and this is the hot take, but looking back at World War II, they didn't even say it was nuclear weapons until, weeks, months after the fact. They tried to just say it was regular bombs. The reports in Japan was that it was just carpet bombing. So I'm not convinced any country has the scary boogeyman nuclear bomb that they talk about. I think
I saw Wolverine.
The practical step that we consider nuclear war, I think the biggest thing is just that's when war starts on the citizens. So right in Japan, that escalation was all right. We bombed civilian targets, like literally just on humans. I think what the biggest thing to fear is warfare that involves killing civilians. I don't think nuclear weapons are anything to specifically be afraid of.
Yeah, I get that point too, but I mean, I just think all the loose talk and that's where I have my concerns. Is just it's like someone's going to talk themselves into something, and it's not, and it's going to go downhill from there.
Yeah. Once they reach the level of you're using civilian deaths as a deterrent from further war, that's in all practicality, the thing to be afraid of. But yeah, the nuclear part, I don't think they have the ability to end the human race with a bomb yet.
I just want to add what my contribution is here. I just want to remind you of something. It's something worse than nuclear warfare. Elon Musk, for example, he says artificial intelligence technology is far more scarier than nuclear weapons is. And
He might be right. He might be not.
Yeah, but so I think we are in the same pattern here, because there is one thing that is more scarier than a nuclear weapon, and that is evil. Evil. We haven't seen evil on this planet yet. I mean, true evil. I mean, like, you're enjoying
Bjørn, I don't agree with you. We have.
Are you playing the harmonica?
Yeah, we have seen this much evil, but we haven't seen this much evil. And that's I think that was Elon.
Like you were playing the harmonica.
And that's more dangerous. I just want to point it out that we can't stop at nuclear warfare. That's the worst thing. Elon Musk agrees on me. I think he thinks the same as I do. Because what's more dangerous? What's more dangerous than nuclear warfare and nuclear weapons is actually growing up pure evil features.
I have a question for you guys. Have you become more religious since the war has begun?
I've always been religious, so maybe, I don't know, maybe.
I think we are all somewhat religious, but what do you think?
I would say the war is something that not that I was waiting for, but something that seemed like a natural course of action for anyone that was really considered themselves religious before.
I guess. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, maybe.
Like, I didn't make me more religious, but I was waiting for some nation at least to finally stand up against what many people would call the one world order, the new world order.
And so it's going to be soon the old world order. Yeah, there's going to be a better one. But now that you think of it, I'm sorry, Festus.
I was just going to say on top of that, I'd say when you look at some of the objectives that Putin talks about, like fighting the degeneracy of the West and trans stuff and sex changes for kids. I mean, I'm a Christian, so I'm definitely against all that shit. So I'd say, if anything, it's kind of affirmed my religious beliefs more, because it's not, like he said, it's nice to see a country stand up for the right things and not be afraid to say the right things, despite being sanctioned by, the golden billion or whatever. I mean,
it's not easy to stand up, right? To against a superpower. Like,
I respect that and I appreciate it.
I think Russia and maybe China, maybe India is one of the very few that can stand up against United States. I don't think there's anyone else can actually stand up.
They need to come together. Defeating the United States is not going to be as hard as you think, because all they need to do is just wait and not fight with each other. That's the thing.
Well,
seriously.
I don't see why can't we have a European bloc, an Asian bloc, an African bloc, a South, and then we all get along somehow. We all find whatever we need from each other and trade and all that.
Humans never work like that.
I know, but I'm just saying. I mean,
warfare is just the way humans communicate when diplomacy and friendship.
If we did have bigger blocks of influence in different regions, I think it would help balance things out. Like you said, it would cut their influence down. We don't, I don't really need to be involved in the politics of New Delhi any more than New Delhi needs to be involved in the politics of Louisville.
But I think that is exactly what's happening now, right? With all these changes due to the war, and the growth of the BRICS. The BRICS is getting stronger and stronger with a lot more new members. You can see, the Shanghai, whatever corporation thingy. I think whatever you said, about the different countries, just minding their own business, just trade. I think it's coming. I think it's already coming.
It's not interesting. It will never happen. It will not happen. Well, it's not interesting, man.
Is the U.S. even?
It's not fun.
Like, as far as the military,
it's wine and bread. That's it. I'm sorry. You can continue.
Oh, no problem. As far as military power, what evidence do we have that the U.S. is this unstoppable physical force? I mean, we know that the
They
dollars
were. Now they aren't.
Let's say I was in the Army in the like if we went back to the 90s, early 90s, into Cold War, I'd say yeah, we could take on a lot of motherfuckers. Now, please.
I'm talking.
No.
It's a joke.
Like you're too thinly spread. It's not gonna happen.
The scary part of the U.S. is that, and I'm from the U.S., but is that for another country such as China or even Russia, the U.S. has the capability to crush their currency, at least in the short term, pretty instantaneously, as what happened to the ruble, 8 years ago. But as far as military might, there's really no evidence that we would even win a ground war against any country.
I mean, yeah, you're not gonna do a beach assault on mainland China. That's just not gonna fucking happen. And it wouldn't have happened if we had the army we had in 1985 or something either.
No. America is not gonna do that. That's what Japan is for. No American's gonna die. No, why should Americans die when Japanese can die? That's simple.
Exactly.
That's simple. Why do Ukrainians exist so Americans don't die?
Yeah, remember that guy said a long time ago. He was like, why should young American boys go do the job that young Asian men?
Oh, because it's fun for Schwab, man. It's fun for Schwab.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I know. I'm just saying, but you're right. I mean, we're always happy to put someone else in front.
Yeah, man. You open up the news, you see some thinly spread human, pate. That's fun, man. It's good.
Yeah, but it's in Iraq is this case, right? Like the Kurds, they send the Kurds to fight the in Syria and in Iraq. Yeah, you have a point there actually.
Hey, they pretty much created Al Qaeda to fight Russia in Afghanistan. So man.
My country being a very good friend to the US, I feel very depressed. I feel very dangerous.
Yeah, but you can only get people to fight that are willing to fight. I mean, we see the pure like anger and hatred of a lot of these Ukrainians. I mean, like I'd rather.
You know why are they angry? Because they've been lied to. They've been sold a dream which is a lie. Okay, now they're starting to realize they've been lied to. They're starting to realize they've been naive, and that's making them angry, and they can't realize it through their anger. It's angst, you understand?
So who
they can't see clearly. They can't. Yes, they are, but just they don't know it yet.
They were betrayed by their government. I mean,
they were betrayed by everyone. They were betrayed by everyone.
I mean, they bought into a promise, and they should have known better. They should have. I don't know. To me, it seems like.
First of all, you say they should have known better, but you're coming from the West. The West have been doing this for hundreds of years. You know that. You know this shit.
Oh, I know.
Ukrainians came from the Soviet Union. They're naive. They don't know what capitalism is. They know capitalism for 30 years. Okay, man. Okay. Man? They owned their country. They owned their country, and they sold everything to oligarchs, man, because they are naive. And then the big war, America, freedom, democracy comes, and they believe it, man. They just believe it. They just buy it.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I think it's very important that everyone that is against or pro-Russia and against NATO, we must consider and always have a door open for the Ukrainians and Eastern Europeans.
Yeah, no, Ukrainians and Russians are friends till this day, guys. Till this day.
Because
I truly believe relations with Russia and Ukraine will get better over time. Yeah. There's no other way.
One thing I always wondered about, when the Soviet Union ended and all these satellite states broke up, you look at like Ukraine and where they are in Europe, it's like they were in a unique position. It's like you have all these minerals, resources, food. It's like instead of buying into the bullshit that politicians like Biden or whoever tells you, it's like they could have been spending the last 20 years becoming like the Singapore or Hong Kong of Eastern Europe.
Yeah, they started doing that. You
want grain, you want this, and then I'm sure the United States or whatever had to get in there and get their cut and fuck it up. But I mean, you're right. They've been lied to and screwed over. It's like now they're realizing they've missed all these good opportunities, and now they might have an opportunity after the war, but look what's left of their country after that.
You're going to have an opportunity after the war if you go invest in Ukraine after that.
I'll invest in Nova Russia. But what I'm saying as well, What I'm saying,
Well, I can't because of sanctions, you know. But you got to go.
What I'm saying with my theory as well, Ukrainian here, they're going to get fucked by NATO eventually.
They are already fucked. They're already fucked by NATO.
Yeah, but it's easy. It is easy for us to be in the West because they don't know. They haven't adapted. They don't know what they're waiting for them. What's waiting for them is an army of bitches, and they can't get away. But they haven't experienced it yet.
They have an army that wants to fuck them over from both sides, okay? Both Poland and Russia, okay? That's their situation. And the moment Poland sees an opportunity, it goes into Western Ukraine.
How do you think that's gonna? I don't disagree with that, but do you think that's going to be like a?
Oh, there's going to be a fancy agreement. It'll be like an agreement. There's going to be like.
Say it's going to be like Poland, Vietnam, or something.
Mutual protection. It's going to be a Poland, Vietnam, yeah.
Okay, so they would probably end up getting dragged into a long-term deal. It wouldn't be like they take it over.
Because Poland needs the soldiers, and the Ukrainians they can't fight anymore. They need new commanders, and they need to regroup. And
so you think
who better to regroup with?
So they would just absorb the leftover Ukrainians.
Oh, they already did. Most of the sub-foreign legion are Polish. They're mostly NATO. Most of the NATO soldiers fighting in Ukraine are Polish. They're already killing Russians in droves. So that's just the logical conclusion. When the Russians come to the eastern bank of the Dnieper River, all Nazis will fall back west, and then Poland will make a decision. Yeah,
that'll be good.
My view is a bit more.
Then by the way, you were talking about nuclear bombs. Then they will drop. They won't drop. They'll just detonate. Like charges, like the demolition trucks.
Yeah.
But there is some theories that because in the West, NATO, they are talking so much about nuclear bomb that some of the pro-Russian side are talking about maybe they are planning some false flag that then they can blame it on Russia, because the fact is, whatever explosion that's happening in Ukraine, we have no freaking idea who actually caused the explosion. Like even for the Crimean Bridge, like for a moment,
that could be a Russian
idea.
False flag, by the way. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a reason for them to do more, right?
They need a reason to fuck them up, man.
So if we put on our
they don't have enough reasons.
Our general caps, as far as nuclear weapons go, what reason would a country have to take nuclear threat seriously if it's never been done?
For the lulz, man.
We're so used to
Russia and US have been doing this for the lulz for how much time, man?
Yeah, but for me, I think that the militaries, especially in NATO militaries and especially nuclear powered militaries, they definitely have studied potential how wars will be fought in the nuclear war, and I feel that they would probably come to a conclusion that it's going to be really hard to fight in the nuclear war.
There won't be, because it's not worth it. Even if there is a false flag and Poland, NATO detonates some dirty bomb, whatever, where Ukraine becomes desperate because they realize they've been betrayed, and they get their hands on a dirty bomb, man. They can have some nuclear waste. They have a lot of nuclear power plants. I don't care. They can build a dirty bomb. Okay. And Russia will see this as a nice opportunity to blame the US and go balls to the walls, as they say, and fuck over Europe with just pure conventional weaponry might.
On the topic of
a lot of rockets.
Nuclear war, if Ukraine said, "Oh, we developed some new super weapon that some,"
they have dirty bombs. They have dirty bombs, man.
No, I know, but you would just because a country says that they could take you out in a second with this new special boogeyman bomb that's never been seen before, there's no reason to by default take that seriously.
But you got to figure too, I don't know if you're from the States, you'll know a term called a throwdown gun. Like if you shoot somebody in self-defense and it's maybe not clear cut, you got a throwdown gun that isn't registered to anybody that you could just throw down. Oh, he had a gun, so it kind of makes it more justified. I mean, it's not outside the realm of possibilities that the United States or some other large state actor would have access to plutonium from different countries, because that's one way they tag that stuff, is they know where it came from. So, I mean, if they did set off a dirty bomb, you'd be like, oh, this uranium came from Chad, or this uranium came from Arizona. I mean, like you said, you'll never know who did it and where it came from. They could have, I mean, think of all the shit the United States has seized over the years from all these countries like Libya. It's like, oh, look, it's Libyan plutonium. It's not Russian. It's not American. You know, they do whatever they got to do to keep this shit going.
Mm-hmm. So going back to my point about nuclear warfare, because how I perceive the nuclear warfare is that there will be no way you can gather your forces together. That means, now we want to do a major offensive, right? We actually first have to accumulate forces together, concentrate, then we push, right? But in the nuclear war situation, any clustering of forces together will be a target for nuclear strike. So basically, there is zero ways you can actually launch a major offensive, which means all the fighting will be very sporadic, all small squads, small forces, fast-moving forces, which no one can win the war in like this. You can't win the war like this.
Why do you believe a nuclear weapon will be used tactically?
I
mean, theoretically, if let's say it's going to be fought.
No, theoretically, you're looking at soldiers at two sides. That's a very mathematical way to look at war. It doesn't work like that. They will use a nuke. If somebody's going to use a nuke, doesn't matter who, they're going to use it strategically. Okay, which means they want to have complete obliteration of the enemy with as less time as possible. That means that they need to strike a city. Okay, so probably, they're gonna strike a major city either in Poland or Ukraine. Okay, and they're gonna kill a lot of people. It doesn't gonna be a big city, but a lot of people gonna be killed, like a false flag, 9/11, Pearl Harbor kind of stuff. A city in Poland will be maybe something will gonna blow up. A lot of people gonna get killed, and the West, they want to rally the West against Russia. Okay. So they're gonna blame a false flag. They just explode the city in Poland. They didn't give a shit about Polish people. Like, let's be honest. A city gonna blow up, and the West gonna see, oh shit, Russia is blowing up a fucking city. We're gonna fucking do something about it.
Right now you're talking about Russia using it on the strategy.
No. Oh no.
The West using it as a false flag. No. I'm talking about in the actual nuclear war. Why countries don't want to use nuclear weapon at all. They don't want to trigger nuclear war because you can't win the nuclear war. There's no way you can actually send your army to conquer another country because you cannot group your forces together. Then without grouping of forces of major force, you don't have an invasion force, you cannot win. There's no way you can take over a city.
Well, you can still use insurgency tactics after the bombs.
But you can't win the war with insurgency, right? Even the Taliban.
Oh yes, you can. Look at Afghanistan, man. They've done a good job.
Yeah. But you see, they only did it after they attack. They form a big force and then they march into the city, right? So if you cannot form up a big group to actually invade, you cannot capture the city. So the Taliban managed to conquer all the cities because they have a major force that push into the city, right?
But if you you might be right, but I think the Taliban just won because they were persistent and spread out.
It would be, because if not, then it would be like the crime gangs, right? How can the crime gangs?
That's how they operated, like fiefdoms, like crime gangs. Exactly, that's how they operated.
Only until they formed the army, then they managed to conquer the cities. But of course, provided that because the Americans did not want to fight, right? They just withdraw.
So can somebody lay down the with the nuclear bombs allegedly in World War II, it was just simply cause as much destruction to a city as possible to get
not
people.
Really. No.
They're just testing the weapon.
They could have dropped the bomb on Tokyo or Kyoto or any other major city, right? They decided to have two cities nobody cared about. They were basically villages. Okay.
Well, it was to show what the capabilities were, and to sort of get the population not to want war anymore.
The bombs were used strategically to deter the Soviet Union.
Well, they were used.
It had nothing to do with Japan.
I don't want to say. So when we talk about strategic nukes today, right, is the topic way more about using them strategically on the battlefield to...
No, there is a battlefield. That's tactical, okay? When you're talking about an area of operations, that's tactical. A battlefield, it's tactical. A theater, it's tactical. But there's the global theater. That's geopolitics. When you employ a strategic nuclear weapon, you want to make a change, a significant change to entire global theater, okay? That's strategic, all right?
Yeah,
and blowing up a little city in Japan, that's a strategic move, okay? And blowing up a nuclear weapon to destroy a military base, that's tactical. That's you influence the outcome of battle or the outcome of a small theater. But when you want to influence the outcome of the global theater, that's when you do the crazy shit.
Right,
That's when the crazy shit happens.
So a lot of the talk today is about the tactical nukes. What is the
It's not worth it. Tactical nukes are not worth it. You can just destroy something with artillery.
Yeah, so why is it so...
Or you can also talk about any topic, actually. It's an open mic. I just want to add. You don't
well,
have
no,
to stick to the
well,
topic.
no. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, today is in the greater discussion. Everyone's talking about tactical nukes. That was my question. What's the purpose of tactical nukes if you can just use artillery? But
yeah, it's useless.
The explosion is bigger.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
The only time you could say that they really ever talked about tactical nukes in a battlefield sense was the Cold War, because that's the only time you would have had large formations facing off where they would have required, you got 3 divisions of Soviets coming across the bridges of the Elbe. You're bridges.
For a phone call. Yeah, I think.
But yeah, I mean, never mind.
No, it's okay. Continue.
I forgot what I was saying because of the stupid ass phone.
Oh, well.
So then why is the discussion on even strategic not this discussion, but the international discussion on strategic nukes when the destruction could be done just with missiles anyway? What's the significance?
Well, first of all, the West is preparing the global consciousness of nukes dropping, okay, or things exploding, people dying. Okay, they want to prepare the people to know that there's gonna be a nuclear war. Okay,
and I think the other thing too is once people mention nukes, then you get all the experts coming out to talk about, well, they got tactical nukes and artillery nukes and missile nukes, and that's where you get all the variety of people talk about stuff. I mean, when I say nukes, it doesn't really matter to me if it's a tactical or a strategic nuke. One is bad and it's going to be bad. It doesn't really matter what kind it is.
I think the only event a tactical nuke is worth it is to sink an aircraft carrier strike group.
Yeah.
Basically, otherwise it's just useless.
But why?
Like nuke Pearl Harbor, that would be a global move and a tactical move because you take out a fleet and you pretty much wipe out the ability for the United States to project force.
The United States can nuke their own Pearl Harbor. That's going to be fun. Round 2.
Yeah, but I'd say that, I mean, right there, that there's only a few things where it would make sense to try and use them, and it's going to elicit the worst response. So, doesn't matter what kind.
So, because the way how I imagine will be a bit different. For example, if I'm going to use a tactical nuke, I will use it on, when let's say the Ukrainian forces is regrouping all around Liman, I will just bomb the whole Liman and just take out the entire force, and the entire offensive force will be gone. Then I will do my counteroffensive, and Ukraine do not have nuclear weapons. That's how I look at it. But in the neutral, both are nuclear powers, then there is no win. Both sides will just run out of soldiers eventually. But that's how I imagine how nuclear bomb will be used in a tactical sense. Because if I am Russia and I'm already committed to using tactical nukes, I will never allow the Ukrainians to gather anymore. I'll just wipe out every single point of deployment. Then eventually they will have to give up because at this moment, all they're doing is just doing airstrikes, maybe artillery strikes. They don't even do missile strikes on this gathering of forces. They still need time to go and find. But if you just bomb in the general area, across the 10 kilometers radius, everyone dies there. You don't even need to, send in your UAV. You just bomb the whole place.
For Russia, it's just not worth it. Russia wants this land. Why would they contaminate it?
Yeah.
Hey, have you ever considered like NATO going under the ground in their bunker and nuke the whole planet? I heard that these new nuclear bombs, they can wipe out the whole planet with one single bomb. I just heard that's also a scenario that actually these 100 or 200,000 elites of NATO and the Western world just go under and just nuke the whole planet and comes up 20, 50 years or later and start a new total new generation.
I wouldn't deny there's a possibility of something like this, but I don't think that will be in their interest to do that unless you are already in a nuclear war.
If they do that, I hope whoever survives dig the motherfuckers out.
People are a resource. Human labor is, and human even just troops is like the most important resource.
Avenge us.
They don't want to. They don't want to kill all their livestock.
Yeah, that's
like,
true.
What's the point of being rich, but then you have no one to serve you? There's pointless. No, let's say you have all the powerful people and the rich people all go into the bunker. Okay, then all the commoners like us, we all die. Who is going to serve them cafe? Who is going to cook caviar for them? That life is not worth living for these kind of people. So that's why sometimes I don't think in that sense. I always feel that the people, the elites, have their means and they want to do things, but the self-interest will always to make sure that these people continue to be below them to work for them. Rather than you eliminate them, then you have no one to work for you. But which is also why there is this fear of robotics and AI, because these people can replace all these slave workers. Yeah, that's where.
Well, robotics and AI will not replace eventually human workers. You understand that, because somebody needs to maintain the robotics and AI for them to work in the first place. And the entire sphere of IT exists because computers sucks. Computers suck. Just computers.
Suck. That's what I always tell people. Computers are stupid.
Computers are stupid. Robots are stupid. People are still needed.
Did
For
anyone
every robot, there'll be like 3 technicians.
Did anyone see that video of the quadcopter that China has that supposedly dropped off the robotic dog with the machine gun on top?
Oh yeah.
I was like, I saw that and it's like, oh yeah. I mean, it comes flying in, lands, and the little dog wakes up and looked like it had a drum mag on the back, and I was like, gee. Like,
imagine you are in the trenches. Yeah, in the trenches, then 25 of these freaking dogs come towards you, and then that they're all metallic, and then
what are you gonna do, man? What are you gonna do? You're gonna shit yourself.
It looked like it had like little sensors on the side too, so it could aim and detect and all that. It's like, yeah, exactly. What are you gonna do? It's perfectly balanced. It's perfectly weighted. It's not gonna miss. It's not like a person who's breathing.
Yeah, you can't scare it. You can't scare it.
And every one of them carries a machine gun on the back,
or grenade launcher, or hell, just pack it with a satchel charge and dive in the trench.
This scenario with NATO dig down in the bunkers and nuke the whole planet, you shouldn't laugh about that. That's a real scenario. They are only humans.
Do about it.
I don't believe
if they actually have those bunkers.
No, but we can do something about it now by lifting it up as an alternative, because nobody talks about that scenario, but that's a scenario.
We need Elon Musk to develop AI rats that can go down into those bunkers with explosives, and then we demonstrate.
What could happen? You know what could happen, Bjorn? Did you read A Brave New World by Aldous Huxley? It's a very interesting world where there is a group of elite people, and they created this entire huge industry of manufacturing humans. Tailor-made humans. There's alphas, betas, omegas, whatever. The alphas are the scientists and engineers and the people who create stuff, it's like a capitalist communism. Okay, it's amazing. Their god is Ford, like Henry Ford, and they count the years after Ford, like
When you
after Ford. Yeah, it's amazing. You really should
no,
read
when you
this book.
said that, I was thinking of car. They just worship a car on a pedestal.
Oh yeah, they actually do. There is a passage in the book. They actually are worshiping the Model T. I'm not kidding.
Oh shit!
Yeah, it's a really cool book. And the premise is there is an elite group of people, so as to say, a nuclear war has already happened. They emerge from their bunkers and they build this factory of humans, okay? And just to create the perfect humans they need to rule their little world, have their little servants doing their little tasks. And the thing about those humans, the gammas, the sucky humans, that they are genetically engineered and tailor-made to enjoy their work. So if you are a coal miner, you like it, man. You like your job. Okay?
But that's kind of what they do
Listen,
now.
I love Black
That's
Moon.
what they. Hey,
That's what they
talk about.
want to do.
Yeah,
That's what
because
they
they
want to
talk.
do. But there is a problem. We're feral humans. Okay?
Yeah, but they talk about this great.
They need domestic humans.
Yeah, but that's actually what they do now, because they try. That's what the white conservatives talks about, that great replacement thing. I think that's what they're thinking, because they want to grow up a new type of people they can just use as they want.
I mean, that's already where we're at.
No, they don't want freedom. They don't want free thinking people anymore. They just want to have an army of people they can control.
Yeah, an army of zombies. Yeah.
But that's where we're at with propaganda and soft power. There's no need to do anything physical.
But it's too soft. It's too soft, man. It's too soft. It will eventually give. You see, America is drowning in its own lies. They can't keep up anymore.
Yeah, but that's because of the ones at the top that did it incorrectly. Because none of these schemes ever work.
No, it's because you're thinking. You should stop thinking.
I'm lost.
Hey, we should look at the ants in the woods in the jungle. The ants lives perfectly. They live in chaos, but they are nice to it. It's the nicest animals on the planet we can compare to. Look at the ants. There are no evil in ants. And in my point of view,
they want us to become ants. Because ants are
we can
genetically
use
programmed to do their job.
No, but we can use them as a model. They are free, actually. They do what they want. Nobody torture them. It's a healthy and love. They produce love and solidarity. They're the most solidaric. They sacrifice themselves for each other. They hang around for 2 days just so the other ones can go over the bridge, go over their backs.
But that will be our life, when whatever you say comes true. Because we will be hanging there for 2 days for each other to climb across, because we are already brainwashed enough to think that, oh, this is so stupid, I should just let go. No,
but then you can see what chaos. No, but listen to me. Then you can see what chaos produces. Chaos produces love and solidarity and the typical left side solidaric features. Ironically, those are produced in chaos in a free market.
I mean, it's human nature. After a couple of days, I'm gonna be like, "Fuck this! I'm tired of hanging here and letting motherfuckers climb on me." I mean, that's the way everybody's gonna be. It's never gonna be like ants are just gonna hang out and let you walk all over them.
You know what's the future, guys?
I mean, that's nice to think that way,
You know what's the future? You know what's the future? You know what's the future, guys? Return to monkey. Return to monkey, guys.
We didn't leave monkey.
Go climb on trees. Go fucking climb on trees. You'll see what it's like to be human.
Ants is actually not chaotic animals. No, they actually follows very strict DNA programming. That once they are born, they will do one specific job, and they will just do that job until they die.
Yeah.
And
evolutionary ants are more successful than humans, by the way.
Yeah, the whole colony will just operate as a single entity. And that's exactly what, if the kind of fear that you have, the world, getting controlled, mind controlled, brainwashed, that we will all follow, and do whatever whoever is the queen ant on top telling us to do. That's the world we will become. We will become the ants. I don't think
maybe it'll be
ants
Liz Truss.
Chaotic animals. if you want to see what is chaotic, you look at chimpanzees. Chimpanzees is exactly the feral version of humans, where
Yeah, but they're having
they are
fun, man. They're
absolutely
having fun,
chaotic.
man. Yeah, they're having
Absolutely
fun.
chaotic.
They're
They
just
go to
living
war.
a monkey
Very fun.
life. They're just
Yeah,
living their monkey life, man. That's what humans want. But we have industry. If you get rid of the industry, you can kill each other in mass. Like in medieval times, people were having clashes. Like a few hundred people died. Peasants went from one hands to other hands, and everybody was happy, man. Everybody was happy. Let's go back
look
to
at
that.
look at the ants as a model. That you can see chaos removes greed. It removes evil. We don't know what's on the other side from nature. Nature, most of us come from chaos. The Asian come from chaos. Russian comes from chaos. The ants comes from chaos. And you see greed and evil. It's non-existent there. What I'm saying is that what they lack, the very thing that has kept evil and greed away is the chaos. And what happens in the West? What happens in the West now and NATO? They remove the chaos. According to my theory, that's when the Satan gets loose. The evil and the greed really gets power. Is after they remove the chaos.
But
So look at the
ideologically, right?
ants.
But ants. So what you're talking about ants, but ideologically, ants are actually communism. So, like you said, there's no greed, there's no evil. Everybody do
not
their
really.
part.
No, it's
That's communism.
corporatism. No, ants are corporatism. It's a way of fascism.
They're Amazon.
What corporatism is, it doesn't have to do with corporations. They just share the name. Corporatism is an ideology that you can break up everything into sort of organs. What's a corpus? A corpus, it's a body. Your body. Your body is a system. Oh, Jesus. What are you doing there? Oh, my God.
It's very noisy.
And anyway, corporatists think that you can view the country or the entire earth like your body, like your corpus. Okay, and every society, every country, every human race has a specific function. Like they believe black people are good, like workers. They're like strong and they can run. That's what they believe. And Chinese are good farmers, or whatever. And Russians also, they're good farmers. Let's enslave Slavic people to farm for us. That's the idea of the corpus. Let's divide the earth into organs. And each organ has his specific mission. That's what they
Hunger
want.
Games. That's
Games. Yeah, sort of. Yeah, that's corporatism.
Pick your district.
And I think neoliberal democracies really are very drawn into this fascist ideologies. I think they are born in fascist ideologies, to be honest. They just liberal.
After the global state, the chaos is removed. And we don't know what awaits after we remove the chaos. In chaos, we know, go to the jungle, go to dance. There are no evil, there are no torture, nothing like that. What my theory, and mathematically I can prove, is that actually when you remove that chaos, that's what keeps evil away. We take it for granted, but my theory explains it. That's when evil actually starts to become stronger than good. And there, the ants are gone, then the ants becomes evil, start torturing each other. It's actually an experiment on rats that's on YouTube, in which they had a rat colony of a couple of hundred of rats.
The rat utopia, yeah.
And they just kept feeding them. It was always food. And after some generations, they're starting to be mean to each other. They start to be mean, have a mean behavior.
Yeah, eventually they started eating each other. They resorted to cannibalism just out of sheer boredom.
And they turned.
I was thinking of a different one where they had the rats. They started like grooming themselves and like taking.
It's the same one. That's the same one.
Yeah. And they turned gay and all that. And
yeah. That's the same one.
Daniel,
yeah, Bjorn.
Can I say one thing to Daniel? Daniel, you said they start to be mean to each other because they're of boredom. I'm saying it's because it's because of a natural law. You say because they're bored. No, I say it's a natural law. When it's too much food, it's a constant abundance of food, evil gets stronger than good. and we are here now.
Exactly.
We are
so
here.
so
We
actually
are
you
good
should,
now.
which means that we
And if
should
NATO
encourage the war in Ukraine, right? So because because in the human society context, right, it is the lack of war, lack of danger that causes this degenerative situation. We start having more babies. We the demographic
Hey guys,
start to
have
get older.
babies. Have babies, guys.
Yeah.
Fast,
So
a
no.
lot. Fast, guys.
So which is why
And then
in the
can't get
medieval
pregnant.
kind of times, then war is more often. Though this don't happen that often. Yeah. So we should encourage war. Like for real. Like for real.
Wyatt, I have a
No,
question
but
for you.
Yes.
So, and you've talked about this a little bit. It seems pretty obvious from the outside that this is not Ukraine's war to have any good outcome. Do you think that the national government in Ukraine, Zelensky and whoever, do you think that they do see a path to victory, or is it just they're fighting because they have to?
They do. That's the scary part. They do. They actually believe they can win.
I
They
can't. But
believe,
how can you
but
believe?
I don't think. But I don't think.
I don't think
there
Zelensky
is.
believes so. I don't think who controls Zelensky believes so. I don't think his advisor, I always forget his name, who actually runs the country, believes so. But the private sector, at least the lower rank guys, actually believe they can win. They actually believe.
Well, I know.
their
So the
own
average
propaganda.
soldier, I know the average soldier.
They believe that. They believe that.
I know they believe it, and they're
Yeah.
angry, and they want to, they believe they're saving their country, fighting for their country. But I mean, like Zelensky, who's sending them off, whoever the decision maker is, do they have a path they see to victory, or I mean, it would be getting the whole world involved, but
Look at Afghanistan, 20 years.
They get rid of the warriors. They get rid of the warriors.
But I think that the what you say is true, because Zelensky from the outset, it seems like his plan to win the war is to get the West involved, to get NATO involved.
Yeah.
No, NATO was involved
and that is
from
his,
the first from the get-go. From the get-go.
That seems, from the beginning, from the moment the war started, that seems
from
like a plan.
before
And
the Soviet Union collapsed.
They have been trying. So since the war started, they have been trying all sort of ways by fear mongering, by maybe false flags, Bucha, whatever, all sort of reasons. They keep trying to find new ways to get the West to get involved more, to even put boots on the ground. I think that is their strategy to victory, because they know that in the conventional war, Russia cannot win against NATO. It's not possible. Russia will end up have to use nuclear weapons to defend itself.
I don't agree with you. Russian military has really fixed itself. Not completely. It was a
but
joke.
Russia also said as much, you see. So Russia also said as much that if NATO involved, they will use nuclear weapon, because they know
not really. Russia never said that. Russia never said that. I think Russia with Belarus and all the weapons in Transnistria, and Ukrainians realizing they've been lied to and join Russia, Europe doesn't stand a chance.
I don't think NATO is shit without the United States, and you got to ship all that stuff over there to.
No, they'll just get fucked. They'll just get fucked.
I mean, and then you're gonna have to deal with submarines sinking your ships, and
they just don't have armies. They just don't have armies. Their armies are jokes.
And I just don't think we have the equipment to fight a land war in Europe. I mean, we could fight it, but I don't think we have.
They just don't have the tools. They don't have anything.
They don't. I don't think we
don't
can
have the manpower. They don't have the gear. They don't have the fuel. How do you fight a war without fuel?
Oh, I'm sure the United States military has fuel cached away for itself, but I'm just saying
they're using up strategic oil reserves.
I don't think we have enough forces to even fight to a standstill there, or it would just be like you might be able to slow them down, then they just get rolled eventually.
Yeah, Warsaw Pact countries are under Russia. That's
you guys are so pessimistic about the American army. I do not know why. Is like
they sent a cruiser. They sent a cruiser to Lithuania. I don't remember, like a couple months ago. There were pictures of it. It was all rusty and falling apart. It looked like it came out of a fucking junkyard.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pessimistic only in the sense that, I mean, look who's going to call the shots for our side. So you got to factor that in as far as how we're going to perform. And, the M1 tank or whatever is great. but it works great because I have a good crew around me, and
a bunch of
and I can
technicians.
call artillery, I can call naval guns, I can call A-10s, and I can just light your ass up and roll right up on you. That's why it works great. I mean, is that going to be the case in Europe and Ukraine? I don't know. I mean, we're just the days of that U.S. Army, I don't think exist anymore since after Desert Storm. I mean, yeah, we had a lot of stuff in the second Iraq invasion, but it wasn't 500,000 troops and it wasn't shitloads of armor. I mean, we had thousands of tanks over there. We didn't have that same amount of shit over there the second time.
There's
It
no
was special forces and infantry.
What the Ukrainians don't realize is that the West and NATO is run by bitches. And they need to get rid of them because they are not bitches. The Ukrainians and the Russians, they are not bitches. They are they are men, right? And these men, they are a threat to the left in the West because they are just a bunch of psychologists, elites, and bitches. But they don't get it. They're gonna crush them, get rid of them eventually after they get rid of Russia and China. And that's so we should always have a door open to them because they're actually on our side.
I'm also worried about Russia getting wiped out because it's unlikely. Like the chances of wiping out Russia is extremely low. So I'm not worried about that. No. Yeah, so worrying about that is a bit too far away. We are still not at that stage yet. Wiping out Ukraine, that is a probable thing. Still within something that we can imagine.
What do you mean by wiping out? Like the nation state?
The wiping out, smashing the government to the point where it's non-functional, and then the whole country just collapsed into a Libya situation.
They already did that.
It's happened a few times in the last decade.
So Ukraine haven't reached that stage yet, haven't reached the Libyan level of soon, not yet, because they still have one government recognized, supported by the West. But what I mean by when it collapsed is that maybe there's they fractured into two factions. Then there's one side wanted to end the war, they want to surrender to Russia, they want to just stop all these things, and there's another side that is the more extremist nationalist side that wants to continue the war and is supported by NATO, and this side will start to fight for the Russian side, and then have a Libyan situation. But when you have that, the country is gone, is effectively gone. So that is how I see the likelihood of how this thing will develop eventually if this war continues on, because it's very hard to get your citizens to continue to go and die. I mean, they have, I think, 4 or 5 million more guys to call up, but after this 4 or 5 million, they have no more guys left within the country that they can actually send to war. So, and then the Russians still got another 25 million military reserves. So I'm not sure how the Ukraine can ever win this war.
Well,
so
do they have a version of like the Taliban? So is there anything that would immediately take over if the Zelensky government?
No, Zelensky is not in power. They already did that in 2014.
It would be whoever.
Who is in power is the private sector. That's the Taliban, the neo-Nazi Taliban. They believe in Bandera. Okay,
but
but
I'm sure that the West can install anyone they want. Like,
yeah, they installed the puppet. Actually, Zelensky is so much of a puppet. I saw a video. I think I sent you, Wyatt. I'm not sure. I sent a friend. They scanned Zelensky, 3D scanned Zelensky with point clouds and everything. They created the perfect
Van barrier.
In the rib bar, I think it was. They created the perfect mesh of Zelensky. They modeled his voice, okay, and they even showed on an iPad how they can scale his image, his size, and put him in different.
I saw that.
Locations. Yeah, and what it actually means. What it actually means. Yeah, what it actually fucking means. He can be in fucking Florida now, in Miami, drinking margaritas, man. Okay. The actual Zelensky exists only on videos.
And that I do not know, because he did go to Izium, and then there is video captured that the civilians.
Oh, how do you know that? How do you know that? It could be a digital doll. It could be a digital doll.
No, but he is far away, far enough, that he's blurred enough for me to not fully recognize is it him or not. But
you'll be surprised,
at least that footage feels real enough. No,
Well, whether he's real or not, Zelensky's he's a spirit, right? So
He's a spirit. Zelensky's a
So-
spirit. He's a superhero.
He's a spirit that's in
He's a
that
superhero. Yes.
that the Ukrainian people, at least the West, have taken on in a number high enough to where a military can exist to support said spirit, right? So I think in Afghanistan we saw, the U.S. tried to create the new nation of Afghanistan. It didn't work. There weren't enough people behind it, and there were more than enough people behind the Taliban for it to gain back control of the nation, right? So right now in Ukraine, enough people follow this Zelensky spirit to keep the nation of Ukraine alive. The question is there a spirit that can take over in Zelensky's absence that would be on the side of, enough manpower?
I'm not sure. And who
a
is
lot
next-
of
next in
Ukrainians
line?
support
I'm not
the
sure.
Russians, by the way.
What?
A lot of Ukrainians support the Russians, by the way.
Well, I mean, yeah, but they instead of
smart-
gaining back their own government, they joined Russia. So is there enough left over in the West that would?
The smart ones does, because the Ukraine, the East Europeans, they must realize one thing. They must realize this. What awaits them is a fucking army of bitches who gonna remove their freedom, and after remove their freedom, they're just gonna crush them, treat them like trash. But they lie. They have this, freedom and democracy. Yeah, come on together. We're gonna make freedom. They don't understand what awaits them. That's the problem. They are screwed, and we need to help them. We need to explain to Ukrainians, hey, it's an army of bitches. You have never met an army of bitches, because army of bitches, they don't engage in war until they have 100% control of you. Then the evil bitches comes at
yeah,
you.
but they were for sale. That's the problem. The bitches have to sell their concept using this ideological currency that I would argue that less of the Russians are for sale. That's why you see Putin going along with what his country wants, is because he has no other choice, right? It seems to be inverted in Ukraine, where the people are listening to what the national government will have them do because they're for sale, right? These Western bitches don't have any real power. They can only purchase the people, the human resources that are for sale.
It's the woman. The woman in democracy, the woman is 50% of the population, and the woman is so easy to control how they think. You can scare a woman, and the woman.
No, not really. No, I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you.
But the psychologist knows this.
Women
they-
are quite
yeah, but-
fierce. Women are fierce.
You have to
They
get.
can
You have
be.
to get
They
the-
can be. They can be more brutal than men.
But the
And I would argue
psychologist.
women. I would argue women actually control the world, man.
Yeah, but in democracy, if you remove the chaos when there are no risk involved, then the woman will control. But I say this woman control, it's not
The
like
women
your
are
mommy.
correct.
It's not like your mommy come and give you milk and give you a hug and protect you. It's actually evil. That's when the evil takes over
Oh
behind
man, look at
that
Tulsi Gabbard. Look at Tulsi
lie.
Gabbard, man. She's tough as nails. Look
Yeah,
at
but these-
Angela
and they-
Merkel. Like,
they're
come
they're,
on,
and
man.
the
they're
sol-
tough in
and the
terms of
soldiers-
influence. It's not real. It's influential power. You have to convince the men of a country to do your
And the
bidding.
male and the macho males in East Europe, the macho males, that's their enemy. That's what they want to get rid of. And look
I'm
what
sorry.
happens in Ukraine. Thousands of brave men are just demolished. It's their enemy.
Hillary Clinton ain't gonna inspire me to fight, and I'm pretty sure Liz
Oh,
Truss
but
ain't
she's
gonna
tough,
inspire
man. But
anybody to
she's
fight.
tough. But Hillary Clinton.
Oh yeah, she'll kill your ass.
She'll kill your ass, man. She won't wink.
But
She
I mean,
won't
I'm just
wink.
saying. I mean, ain't nobody fighting for that bitch, and just like Liz Truss. I mean,
Oh, you would be surprised. A lot of people will fight for the bitch, knowingly or not.
oh, I know. I'm just saying. I mean, I don't see them as inspirational people. Oh yeah, she's so great.
That's not. It doesn't work like that. By the way, Bjorn it's an interesting thought, because what is happening demographically in the Ukraine is very interesting. Because what they did is not allow men to flee the country, and every man who tries to flee, they send him to the front to be rounded up. So what happens is they actually exported a population. They literally sold a population of women to the West, to Poland, to Germany, to breed them, okay? And they killed the Ukrainian men. They actually
But
just slaughtered
There
the
them.
were stories.
don't you
There were
see
stories.
the Ukrainian women they're fucked as well because they are East European. Don't you see the elite on the planet?
I guess they just bought
European.
they
It's
bought
the
the genes.
No,
They
it's the
bought the genes.
European. It's the European white male in the West. They have always controlled the world. The East Europeans. They're just going to get rid of them, along with the Asian, along with the Russian, along with the Africans. Look it's like Jens Stoltenberg. He's from my country. These are the smartest guys on the planet. The so-called Vikings.
Yeah,
They're always
Rufus.
run the planet. And the East Europeans, women, men, whatever, they're all going to get destroyed. They're gonna somehow after they control the planet. But the first one they need to get rid of is the brave males, is the brave soldiers of Ukraine, of East Europe. Those are the first it's the biggest threat, right?
The war in Ukraine was a boom for human trafficking. That's all you need to know about that. I mean, there were stories months ago about how all these women and children were being exploited in the Western countries that took them in. I mean, selling your population is exactly the way to put it.
But they must realize they are smarter than them. They must realize it. Look at his story.
You can go on Telegram. And there's videos of Ukrainian women bitching about the people offering them shelter. It's like, yeah, you can live here. You don't have to pay me. You just have to fuck me. I mean,
you know who rules the world. You know who rules the world, and they don't need the East European, the male whites in the Western world, the so-called Vikings, North European, North American. They run the fucking planet, and the East Europeans must realize. They must realize this.
The biggest corporations are all led by Indians, So if you look at Microsoft, the CEO is an Indian, so he's not white.
Well, he's an American too.
Yeah, but the CEO
is not white, right? So the whole theory, all this very racist theory, I don't think is true.
Elon Musk.
No, it's not African.
But after they have established this global state, then they can then the truth will come out. Now they lift up African women in the government. Oh, African black woman, they lift them up. Look, we are not. Come to us. Let us rule, because then the black ones will have power. That's the strategy. I just say one thing. I'm just going to say one thing now. The people on the planet need to realize these Stoltenberg and these people in the Western world, they are smarter than you. They have always been smarter than you. They have always fucked you, and now they're fucking you again. But this time around, there's no way back.
So there's nothing we can do about it, right?
After they take the whole fucking planet, there's no way out. This time, there's no way out.
No, so the problem is you already put in the prerequisite that they are already smarter than us, and there's nothing we can do about it then. Yeah, there's nothing we can do about it.
I tried, but I have a theory now. What you can use, it's the chaos. They have one enemy, that's the chaos. And
so how do you develop chaos?
There is one thing. There are these few people on the planet. They are outnumbered. That's the problem, and they must convince that there are no threat to anyone on the planet. But they are actually outnumbered.
They're outnumbered they're outnumbered 7 billion to 1, but they got nukes.
But that's what you can use against them. The chaos, and the chaos, it's your freedom. Your freedom is in their way.
You don't have your control. No. Wait. You keep going round and round in terms of this ideological theory, but the problem is, how do you give freedom? How do you actually even get back your freedom? For example, in many countries, including Singapore, we have vaccination. We are being forced to vaccinate. How do you get back your freedom? if you don't vaccinate, you don't get to go to the malls. You don't get to go to school. You're going to go to work.
You give up the malls and the schools.
It's not possible.
There is only one true freedom, and that's the freedom that nature gives you. And the freedom nature gives you, that's chaos. In chaos, you are actually free. And that's the closest
so you have to be more specific. How do you behave in chaos? How do you behave naturally?
Like the ants. That's the closest thing we can come to freedom. Whenever humans...
the ants are not free. The ants are DNA genetically controlled. They are not free.
No, but that's the closest thing you come to freedom.
Then we are screwed, right? So there's no way out because...
because I say, you see that, I mean, I have my own theory about this, but I'm just saying they are smarter than you. They need to remove the chaos and use the chaos against them. Hinder
you
them
can't, because first you have to define what is chaos. You cannot say chaos is freedom, but then how do you
can I define chaos?
Yes, please.
Yes. Well, chaos actually is entropy. Entropy is actually a physics term, which is very little understood. Well, what Bjørn actually means, well, it might sound like a conspiracy theory to some, but I think what he tries to say is chaos. People generally understand what chaos is, but in mathematical terms, chaos is called entropy. Okay? We're living on Earth. Earth is an enclosed, isolated system in the vacuum of space. If you know an enclosed, isolated system, when you apply heat, entropy goes up. Okay, and complexity goes up with the entropy. Okay, and the more something is complex, the more hard it is to run. You need to invest even more energy to make it to make sense. All right. Now, actually, diamonds are a beautiful thing. Okay, they're very orderly. They have this magnificent, sprinkly, transparent shape. But actually, diamonds are a product of high entropy. In fact, they're orderly, but they're a product of disorder. Okay, the same is said with humanity. Humanity is this beautiful, complex thing, but it's a product of high entropy, of high complexity, and the more entropy rises, like humanity is growing. Okay, humanity is becoming more and more complex. People are finding it harder and harder to wrap their mind around the chaos and what the entropy, so to say. And what Bjørn is trying to say, you can invest all the energy in the world to fight the entropy. Okay, to move the atoms around to make sense, like making refrigerators. Okay, when you make a refrigerator, you're making your room less hot, right? Yeah, you're making your room less hot. Less hot. You reduce the entropy in the room, but you create more heat eventually through the conditioner, through the radiator that goes out. Okay, that's what the capitalists are trying to do. The neoliberals are trying to do. They wanted to create this conditioner, but they don't have where to pump the heat out of this complexity. Okay, and they're pumping this heat out on the lower class to serve them. Okay, that's and what Bjørn is trying to say is not, don't build conditioners, don't build refrigerators. It's pointless. We're living on Earth. Okay, eventually we'll live on other systems, but they're also closed and isolated, so it doesn't matter. Okay, so yeah, so Earth is closed and isolated, and humanity needs to come to terms with it. So instead of building refrigerators to cool Earth, we need to embrace the chaos, embrace the entropy, and live in more high entropy centric society. Like that's what's the premise of communism. But real communism is science fiction, actually.
We need to keep the chaos, because but we don't know what awaits. Okay, after the global state thing, they're gonna remove the chaos or decrease it a lot. What I'm saying, that's when the evil starts to develop for the very first time on our planet. Evil traits in life will, according to my theory, be stronger and take over. And we don't talk about nuclear weapons now. We are talking about evil creatures running the globe, and you can't get away anymore. They're gonna torture you.
Yeah, but
theoretically, they're gonna torture you. They're gonna start enjoying torture and create this evil planet. That's what I'm talking about here.
Human was trying to say something.
Well, to build off what both of you are saying, this system, right? This air conditioner that you get, or the refrigerator, you get the heat blown on you. You don't have to subscribe to it, right? You can. I guess this is what Bjorn means by chaos. You can separate from that ordered system and maintain your own order, and in that realm, you have complete freedom.
You need to isolate yourself. That's the problem. You need to isolate yourself, and what they did is create this golden cage around you that you don't want to get out.
Yes,
you just don't want to get out.
So I don't think there's any country in the world where, if you were willing to just go through anything possible to not get the vaccine, that they would have held you down and stuck the needle.
Yeah, you need to go off grid. The solution is to go off grid, and the more people go off grid, the better. But
well, you could go mentally off grid too, right? So you could.
Yeah, that's true. That's the easiest way. But you need to separate your physical being from the grid too.
But you need one thing to remove the chaos, and that's a constant abundance of energy. So in governments, for example, I don't say you don't gonna have governments. I just say you have to lower the taxes, like to 15% or something like that. But what I'm saying, first you need a constant abundance of energy, then you can remove the chaos. You see, in governments, they remove the chaos. They have control of all their employees. There are no chaos within the government, right? It's because of the taxes, which creates this system with abundance of energy. That's when they can conquer the natural chaos. What I'm saying, they're trying to do this on the global scale, and they will sell. And they will sell it as, oh, finally it's going to be fair, finally free, finally free. That's bullshit. What I'm saying, that's when the evils really take control over the planet.
Why can't you just shut off the energy to your own home? Like, the abundance of energy is because we are taking it in. You can stop taking it in.
You can take cold showers, man. You can.
No, when I say energy, money is energy. Money, food is energy.
You don't have to play. You don't have to connect yourself. Like, it's like if you stick a hose in the back, in your back, and you're constantly receiving that energy through the pipe in your own home. You don't have to do that. You can create your own. You could get rid of your own abundance of energy by just simply separating from it.
I'm talking about society.
Society,
like the rats. Like the experiment we talked about earlier on the rats. They took a colony and just pumped in food, abundance of energy. Then they start to get evil. That's what I'm talking about.
There's always going to, as long as the energy exists and there's someone who can offer the energy as a price for labor, it's always going to exist. There's nothing you could do.
So actually, the Europe will be very happy, right? Because they're going to be in chaos. Like they're going to have not enough energy. They're probably not going to have enough food as well, and everything is going to be very expensive. No one is going to have abundance of energy. So wouldn't Europe be saved?
Well, there's a
theoretically they're gonna be saved, because then they're gonna equalize to their real energy consumption. Okay, so a population will die, and the population that lives will rebuild a new society. So in fact, they fix their energy problem. Yeah, it's nature always self-equalizes.
So NGS wrote, we Europeans can't discuss the Ukraine crisis rationally because of media and social control. How can we get out of this horrible situation? I would say
install
Telegram. Don't use energy.
I'll throw an answer to that. So
go off grid, guys.
So you can only discuss it with people that want to discuss it, right? Like if you try to convince somebody of a viewpoint that's just so attached to what they saw in the news, it's not going to happen. You can only tell people things they are asking to hear.
Because a lot of this, what Bjorn is talking, is really hard, because we are individuals. You're one person. How are you going to change certain things? How are you going to not follow the law? Like, for example, in Singapore, it is the law.
Well, what you need to do is to create memes, create communes, create stories inside your communities. Create communities. Okay, talk to people, go to cafes, ditch the phone, ditch Facebook, man. It's all lies. Meet real people, okay? Meet real people, create real communities, not Facebook pages, okay? And then build something amazing together. That's the solution, guys. Stop believing their lies. Stop
So what the
believing
hell
their
are we
lies.
doing here, man? This is all a lie.
Yeah, we're spreading propaganda. It's all propaganda, so that's okay.
It's very true, Daniel. Freedom of speech. That's very important
Freedom
that
of
we can
bitch. I need
communicate.
to correct you. You misspelled freedom of bitch.
What do you mean?
Freedom of
Hey,
bitch.
and by the way, my theory on energy, it's on my YouTube channel. If everyone is interested, I made some. It's easier to understand because I understand it's very complicated, but that's why I'm so engaged in this
If you can
topic.
drop it into the chat, then I can
Oh, yeah, I will watch it. I'll give it a shot. Why
But
not?
it's just my YouTube channel is
I'm
Bjørn
open-minded.
Sponberg.
I'm open-minded to everything, so I don't care.
But the freedom of speech that we can communicate, that's totally important. That's so important. So thank you, Wyatt, for having this show.
No, that's a good one. That's true.
Yeah.
Take the initiative. So you're a hero in my in my theory. You're a hero.
Daniel,
No,
what
yeah.
country are you
Nice
in?
cope. Nice cope, man. Nice cope.
The-
I'm from Israel, man.
Nice.
Yeah, because for me, I just the open mic, the whole concept of open mic is for people to know, to share whatever views they have, the opinions, and discuss basically anything, except for those things that YouTube don't like. Now I will try to stop you guys. Yeah. So, though, yeah, but no, there's just how things are. I mean, today's talk is very mind numbing. I don't know how to put it. It's very heavy for my brains.
Daniel,
But
can I throw a question in?
Big brain. Yeah, sure, human.
I need a Israeli perspective. So what? Just to preface, what's your thoughts on the whole U.S. and Israel ties situation? I mean, there's not an uprising, but a group in the U.S. that is starting to say Israel's taking advantage of the U.S. There's others.
Of course they do. Of course they do. Israelis are Jews, okay? We're Jews. We will do what is needed to ensure that we survive. Okay? And we don't care what you think. We don't care what you think. Okay? We will cooperate with Iran if it means our survival. Okay? So Israel is sort of like Turkey. We don't give a shit. We don't give a shit if you're Russian. We don't give a shit if you're American. Okay, we're just going to cooperate, and you're not gonna hurt us. We're not gonna hurt you. That's the situation. America, okay, that's a complicated one because I'm not sure what to think about it. Because Israel is a very interesting experiment that has not been done before in prior history. It's a very I don't know. I really don't know. It's in the realm of speculation. Israel was established as a socialist state, right? And who didn't like it? Okay, the Americans. They just hated the idea. They just wanted to take over Israel as a land aircraft carrier for them for Middle East operations, which what Israel is now de facto. Okay, so Israel is pretty much a vassal state of the United States of America
right now.
But we are a rebel state, so to say. We are trying to rebel, but don't tell anyone I told you this. Israel was represented in the Asia Pacific
last one, right?
economic forum. You think? Yes. Yeah, Israel was there. There was the flag of Israel and the flag of Iran, like just like Iran, flag of Russia, everywhere, everyone, and the flag of China. And many cities in Israel, we are making huge Chinese projects, a lot of Chinese projects here, Chinese flags. People don't care. We don't mind. Israel is having good working with China too.
So it's an interesting situation because I don't think people realize how much I'm a Christian myself, but how much the mainstream evangelical church community and population has an influence on United States politics. And because of that, Israel, because of its name and location, is viewed very favorably to to the evangelical community, which in turn affects U.S. policy. And a topic I don't see talked about at all with Ukraine is that Ukraine had a huge presence of U.S. missionaries there. Ukraine, I don't know if it was because of a program Ukraine started, but every church you would go to here, there was a missionary in Ukraine. And even though when it seems Russia would be on the theoretical Christian side of this conflict, all the Christians here sided with Ukraine. So it's an interesting thing to see where countries' relationship with the American evangelical movement, how that affects U.S. policy. Because again, it would seem objective that the Christian ideology favors Russia in this situation, but because of the missionary engagement in Ukraine, they took a hard side with Ukraine, and they take a hard side with Israel and anything Israel does as far as the government goes.
You see, Israel is not completely a free country to do whatever the fuck it wants. Okay, it still needs to comply. Like Benjamin Netanyahu, Bibi Netanyahu. Well, he opened his mouth in Congress, and he got slapped out of the Knesset, out of the Israeli Congress. Okay, he just went out. Oh, pow. Okay, and the president.
What was he speaking against?
I think it went when Trump came out. Yeah, Trump got out. Bibi really loved Trump. Okay, they were like, so the propaganda here was that like we're best friends, like we're buddies, and whatever. And then Biden came, and we had all this bullshit. We have like 5 elections, and there's like another one coming. It's like 6 elections in like 4 years, something ridiculous like this. 6 elections. Something is fishy is going on here. Something ridiculous. I think Bibi just pissed off the Americans. I'm not his supporter. I don't give a shit about Israeli politics. To be honest, it's a joke. It's a fucking joke. It's a puppet government, and they just put another puppet in. Less experienced. He only got 6 mandates, which is like a few 100,000 people, which is really nothing. It's not a democracy anymore. Actually, a president who doesn't have the support of the people. So Israeli democracy is really a joke. It's a circus. It's a circus. There are very smart people here, but they're the minority. They really can't do anything. People are scared too. People are scared. But I'm not sure where Israel is going. But what are the factors here? There are many forces at play here. The Russians have a lot of force here too inside Israel. So just so you know, many oligarchs prefer to do their business here. Israel is considered the hub between the East and the West. So there is a fight inside Israel, but an ideological one, not a literal one. I would say. Yeah.
Well, there's a common take here in the U.S. as far as I'll call it, like there's big pharma, there's big E, right? The mainstream evangelical sort of conglomerate. There's a popular concept that Russia is like the evil nation of end time prophecy, and first they're going to take over Ukraine, and then they're going to go down to Israel and take Israel.
Yeah. Well, the Americans took over Israel. They took over all of our enterprise. They basically monopolized the entire market. They bought out shares in pretty much every Israeli company. Warren Buffett owns Iskar, which is the biggest Israeli steel manufacturer, steel parts like CNC and shit manufacturer. Yeah, this fucker he owns biggest manufacturer, the biggest pharmaceutical manufacturer in Israel is owned by a Swedish guy. Okay, there's something really ridiculous like that. There is no more Israeli business. It's ridiculous when you think about it. There is no medium-sized businesses or small businesses. They're just huge corporations. Everybody wants to go to work to the huge corporations which are owned overseas.
Well, is it part of the discussion over there that the level of, not, I wouldn't say obsession, but the level of favor that the majority of Christian conservatives have for Israel in the States? Because it's literally, I wouldn't say this is what the Bible says, but there's literally a common idea that those who help Israel in terms of humanitarian aid and send money to Israel.
Israel doesn't need your money, man.
Well, I would
don't-
agree.
We don't care.
I would agree.
We don't care. We don't care. We can
So
get
is-
the money
is it-
otherwise.
So are you guys not? Is that
We
not
don't
part of
care.
the conversation?
No, when the average Israeli doesn't give a shit about the Christian evangelicals. He doesn't even know they exist. I'm for sure. No, man, I'm honest with you.
No, that's interesting.
On the evangelical thing, I think on state side, the reason why you have so many people that turned against Russia is you've got a lot of people that you would recognize as like leaders in the evangelical movement that are involved politically. There's a lot of hawkish people like that, so it would make sense that you would see that reflected by people that would be influential in the evangelical community. Because I mean, I'm a Baptist, so I'm evangelical, and you could definitely see it, and I think that's part of it. Is like there's people that are big in the evangelical movement in the States that are anti-Russia, so it kind of trickles down into that. I don't think that most people, do a deep enough dive to really understand the issues and make an informed decision. I think they just hear it from the top and it trickles down and they do it. I mean, there's people that are awake that are evangelical, but I'd say overall it's from the top down.
As far as Ukraine goes, I was sitting in a church near me. I'm in New York, Western New York. They had a pretty involved missionary in Ukraine, and when your church has a missionary in Ukraine and you're hearing the Ukrainian perspective, I think you're way more likely to side with Ukraine on this.
Absolutely.
And every single church I've ever been to, which is
So what
quite
are
a few,
these?
has-
What are they preaching? Can you tell me?
Yeah,
What
I'm
the
pretty sure we
Ukrainian-
have some missionaries that.
Yeah, what are they saying? What is their take?
the ones to Ukraine.
Yeah, what do they say for Ukraine? I want to know. I want to know
So-
what's their take. What
They
is
don't
they
say
fighting
the
for?
ones like the ones we have at our church. They don't say nothing because they're in Ukraine or they're afraid they won't be able to go back. So I would think your missionaries aren't going to say shit just because they can't afford the down.
No, seriously, can I have an approximation what they're
Yes.
preaching?
So
Like seriously.
I asked several years ago because I've always, I don't want to say sided with Russia, but I've always, had a special place in what I was watching in the world for Russia. And I asked the Ukrainian missionary, I thought he would be favorable of Russia because of all the, the movement toward orthodoxy and Putin, Putin quotes Jesus Christ in his speeches.
Yeah,
right?
all
So
the time, man. All the time, man.
I thought there'd be a favorable concept of Russia. And again, this was 2 years ago before this conflict started. Well, when the Civil War was going on, but they view Russia as this this lying nation, this bully. Like I said, it's a common thought that Russia will form into the evil state that fights Israel when Israel becomes the the new land of God on earth, right? But an interesting thing that one said recently. I heard one missionary give a sermon since the conflict started, and he flat out said, "Yep, we're using the churches over there as barracks. Don't when you see that Russia's bombing a church or something and it's a civilian target, just rest assured we're using them as barracks." And he just said that flat out.
I was going to say, my wife's gone on a couple mission trips, and I think another thing why they don't talk about what they preach is when they go over there like to India or whatever. They go to teach first aid or teach how to give a pre-kindergarten, preschool type classes and stuff. And then that interaction creates an opportunity for them to share the gospel or, proselytize. So I would imagine that it's the same process because they have missionaries in Russia and everything too. And a lot of those places, even though you're Christian and the Russians are Orthodox or whatever, they really don't like outside religion and people coming in like that. So they kind of have to do it on the down low. I mean, they're trying to get more Christians and all that, but it's not like some places you really can't be blatant because they go to places like in North Africa, India, the Indians ain't going to have, you're not going in there from, the Southern Mississippi Baptist Church having a Bible revival in the middle of New Delhi. They'll run your ass out of town. But if you go in there and teach first aid and talk to some people, maybe put the thought in their head, that's all you're trying to do. And that's all. I think that's one reason why you don't really hear their perspective, because they really can't say nothing, because they really can't give up the game.
Well, I know in Ukraine specifically, that's why I say there must be some sort of program that Ukraine is taking a big part in, because they're building churches in Ukraine, and they're going there and running churches. And it created this sort of grassroots support for Ukraine in the evangelical population in the States. And the evangelical population controls a lot of the policy. Like we had when Pence was in, Pence is their like savior as far as the government goes.
Exactly. You got guys like, and he's a hawk all the way. I mean, but he's definitely one of those people that would be influential in the evangelical movement. I mean, they love him because he's like, I never eat or have any interaction with a female without my wife present. People eat that shit up. He's Mr. Perfect. He lives, he walks the walk. He can.
Well, and that's why Trump was so close with Israel and was really making a point of those peace deals and whatever. It's because that, like, literally churches I was in was saying, like, look, he's starting the prophecy or stuff like that.
Hey, I'll tell you.
You can't do anything right?
No, they were saying it was a good thing, but I mean, Trump just does what his people want.
Hi, bye.
Oh, bye, Bjørn.
Bye. Bye. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
See you, bye.
Commander.
Take it easy.
Yeah, pleasure talking to you. See you, man.
Nice cope.
Take it easy, Bjørn.
Yeah, nice cope, man.
Okay.
Hey, I was going to ask, how bad do you guys think the air defense systems got hit with those 3 days of strikes? Because it seems like there's background talk.
They didn't have
shit in their
pants. They were already destroyed mostly.
The rumors was that as the drones and the cruise missiles come in, right, then the surface to air missiles engage all these targets. They appear, and then they got they expose their locations, which then leads to a second wave of missile strikes. But I'm not so sure, whether these are true, because these are all, pro-Russian sources talking, Yeah.
It just seems like they might have slipped in like a lot. They sent all these missiles into these other targets like the energy plants, and then maybe they went after active units. Like the first wave was going towards the dams or the power plants, and when they light their SAMs up to try to track those missiles inbound, then they're firing the second wave and hitting those sites. Because it seems like they've kind of gotten desperate, like you were talking about in that one video with they're using fighter jets to try to intercept cruise missiles and drones, and that's not really working.
I'm actually very surprised that they actually using fighter jets to try to intercept the drones, and I also didn't know that you can actually take out cruise missiles with your surface with your air-to-air missiles.
Were they saying a MiG-29 crashed while trying to engage a drone?
They say it's a technical fault. They say it sounds technical fault. I think he might be flying too slow, and then the thing stalled. The airplane stalled.
Yeah, that would make sense.
And there's also other planes getting shot down way inside in Ukrainian territory, which is very unusual. And the one that I mentioned in the video was that it was shot down by surface-to-air missile, by air defense, which is ridiculous because it's in the middle of Poltava, and then it's like, what, air defense shot down an aircraft in Poltava is
they're
very far away.
Their own.
Well, I mean, they've been moving around S-400s, haven't they? So maybe they got
but you see,
they can
Ukrainian
reach.
aircraft usually don't fly that high. Because they know that they will be in range of the S-300, S-400s, which is why they have been flying very low all the time. Even in their training for all these new pilots, they are always training to fly low. So but the thing is, when you're trying to engage drones and the cruise missiles, which they do not fly very high, you need to fly higher to actually spot all these incoming targets. And when you fly higher, use your radar, then you expose yourself. And I think this is how they got shot down. And it's really very hard for the Ukrainians. I think they are kind of stuck in the, turn left is wrong, turn right is also wrong. It's like,
they
kind of shitty situation.
They should stop using the S-300s, if they even still have any, and the S-200s, the older Soviet tech, because the Russian electronic warfare things just disrupt them. They just disrupt them. And they can't use them. They need also they are forced to use anti-air SAM sites from inside cities, and from inside cities you have a lot of
It's really dangerous,
radar
right?
reflections, and the missiles are also very old. They've been in storage for a lot of time. Go figure what happened to them. And
I'm
when you're
curious.
trying to intercept a low-flying cruise missile, and you're firing, well, it's a pretty huge missile when you think about it, the S-200, and you're firing it from inside the city, okay? Because you need to hide your SAM site, okay? You're firing it from
Yep.
inside the city, and the radar is just it's low tech. It's low tech analog radar, and it just can't intercept low flying cruise missiles. It was not built for that. And what they're doing, that's what they have. They're trying to intercept these missiles, and the missiles just don't know what to do, and they loop back and hit buildings. Simple as
Which is-
that. Or
You
they
gotta,
just
you,
slow
gotta,
down
you,
their
gotta send,
aircraft.
you gotta send them the Iron Dome, man. You gotta send them the Iron Dome.
It won't work for Russia, no. Iron Dome won't work against
Yeah,
Russia.
I saw something about that. I mean, they said something like it wouldn't
It's
be
low range.
compatible. with
It's low
threats,
range.
right?
No. It's a simple. The simplest explanation here is just Iron Dome is super low range interception systems for very small rockets and projectiles.
Yes.
It's literally a small dome. And think about it. Ukraine is huge. We can even if you sell them a few, well, okay, they will put a few in some major cities, and then what? Okay.
They can cover some drones.
Yeah, they can cover
probably.
some drones or cover Zelensky or something, but that won't help.
Hmm.
And we can
So-
only make so many. We need them more than the Ukraine does.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I'm saying. They ask for all this shit, and it's like you're not going to get that.
Even if you
I mean,
do, what are you
I
going to
don't
do with it?
think-
You don't even know how to use it. It's so high tech.
I don't even know how Israel keeps up with the missile production, the way they have to shoot them fuckers off all the time. I mean, I ain't even joking. It's like you watch one day, it's like, hey, they fired 500 rockets and Israel shot them all down. It's like, damn, they must be
Yeah,
building.
that's amazing. It actually
They
looks
must have
amazing.
3
I
ships
saw that.
24/7.
It looks amazing.
I
It
mean,
sounds
it's
amazing
insane.
too.
Yeah,
Any,
I mean,
any idea this Iris T and the NASAM?
Yeah,
You all know anything about
Can you
it?
repeat it? Can you repeat that?
This, you see the wording below, the Iris T and the NASAM surface air missile. You know anything about it?
Iris T. What's an Iris T? That's Sam's.
It's I think it's a German air defense or Norwegian or it's some maybe it's like a conglomeration of EU countries that did one and then
Yeah, but they also don't have a lot of them. They just
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's
They
not
don't
worth
have
it.
shit.
It's not worth it to give them out to Ukraine.
Yeah,
it's like the HIMARS. I mean, we don't have enough in our inventory. Just give them what they would actually need, which would be like probably hundreds of them.
So I don't know. Every surface to air missiles, the pro-Ukrainian side always make it sound like it's going to change the war or something. No, they are very confused. So today I was like trolling about the S-300 being used as a surface to surface missile on Twitter. There is like, why would the Russians ever use S-300 as a surface to surface missile?
No,
And
by
then
mistake.
But why the Ukrainians don't use S-300 as a surface to surface missile? Right? Like wow, if it's that good, the Russians are using it. Why the Ukrainians aren't using it?
I think it's going to be more effective for the Ukrainians to use it as a demolition truck. Did you see the video with the guy with the machine gun who shot the S-300 and just blew up? Just use them as demolition trucks.
There's
Just
like
use them
two
as demolition
videos.
trucks.
Like, the first guys were too close and almost got
Do
fried.
Crimea
The
too.
second one-
Do Crimea
they
too,
fired
guys, with the S-300.
Yeah. Guy took a PKM to it.
So I'm not sure how they're going to continue to deal with the situation in Ukraine where the Russians still they're still making drones. Today I just saw the Medvedev visited the factory for I think the Olan drone. Oh my freaking god! In just that one small room, I think I saw like at least 15 drones, all in different parts. So, and the Shahid will probably be even worse. it'll be like hundreds of them.
Yeah.
So the Ukrainians calculate they estimated they have the Russians currently have 500 Shahid 136. I think if I didn't remember wrongly. But I think the number is going to change every week because they are mass producing these drones, and how are they going to deal with it? Because you need a specialized surface-to-air missile to take down a drone. A normal surface-to-air missile cannot take down a drone.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, aren't they? Someone's posting like at least once a week about a big 747 flying from Iran to Russia, and they always say, "Oh, it's probably dropping drone parts off or drones." I mean, who knows?
Maybe.
I mean,
Or nukes.
yeah, all those tactical nukes.
Or who says is Iran sending things to Russia? Maybe it's Russia sending things to Iran. They just went to go and pick up.
Yeah, maybe they just went to visit. But yeah, it's like there's like a 747 attached to the Republican Guard flew from such and such place in Iran to such and such place in Russia. We wonder what they're doing. What are they delivering? It's like you don't fucking know.
Well,
I mean,
they're building a nuclear power plant together. Good job.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they be sending people back and forth and parts and technology? I mean, I don't know. It always cracks me up the way they act about like, oh, I can't believe they're flying down to this place. It's like they're friends. Why wouldn't they? You know, it's like they've been working together for fucking 20 years. I mean, what's the surprise? But it's like they just try to bring it up to like throw in some more chaos. Like all of a sudden, oh my God, Russia and China are working together, or Iran or whatever.
I'm so sensitive with the word chaos now.
Or India. It's like India and Russia have been buddies for a while. I mean, yeah, they butt a little bit, but it's like Turkey and Russia. You know, they buy shit from Russia. They buy shit from us. They try to be friends with everybody. And then they act like it's a big surprise. Like, oh, I can't believe India is being friendly with Russia. It's like, well, they bought MiG-27s and they bought Apaches. I mean, okay.
How far
they have the BrahMos missile.
How far is the U.S. going to go, you think? I know Wyatt, you said you don't think they'll go very far, right? In terms of their support for anyone.
I think it comes down to the government in the United States. How I hate to say it, but I mean, when are they going to swallow their pride? That's the thing. I mean, are they going to do something stupid and be prideful and just drag it out because they can? Or are they going to finally get to the point where they negotiate? I mean, I don't know. I mean, with Biden, I have more. I'd lean more towards it getting worse and not ending than it being resolved, just because he's a fucking dumbass.
Because I don't think it's going to be anytime soon, because I think just saw they're going to be sending more Humvees, like $780 million worth of Humvees and don't know what not. So
yeah, they're gonna be stuck in the mud and they don't work in freezing conditions like so.
Did you see that video of the suicide drone hitting the Humvee?
Oh shit! Yeah, that was.
Well, it was pretty fucked up, because you see a guy get out of the Humvee and he looks at it. It looks like
the guy ran away. He ran away and just got a cumulative charge to his face. It just got center mass cumulative charge. It just got vaporized.
Is it normal for countries to be giving this much aid and not being in a formal declaration of war?
Actually, America did it. No, America did it all the time. World War II, they supported both the Nazi regime and the Allies. Like in the beginning of the war, they sold equipment to the Nazis too. So America profits from this shit all the time.
Yeah, I mean, before we got involved in World War II, Lend-Lease, how many, by today's standards, how many billions of dollars did we give England before we even started?
Yeah, at what point would Russia have to say, all right, no more, or else that's an act of war?
But every time that happens, US go to war.
So, I think it's their choice at this point. I think that point's been crossed. It's really up to Putin at this point. He could do it and justify it, or he could not do it and justify it.
But it doesn't matter what's his justification, though, I think. Because World War II, how US got into, or I think World War I as well, is that the Americans keep sending the ships, right? The convoys, ships, to send all the stuff to Britain. Yep. And then the Germans start to get impatient, and then they start to sink the ships. And that's how the Americans got into the war. So if the Russians did the same thing, then he will get into the trap of getting the Americans into the Ukraine war as well. So I think Putin will learn from history. I think.
I mean, really,
Like,
if he lets it drag on and does the winter offensive, I mean, I think this winter is going to break Europe's will. And, I think that's all he has to do is break somebody's will.
No,
Hungary's
all
on the
Putin
fucking-
is need to, all Putin needs to do, we'll say Putin, Russia. Well, Putin is not Russia. All Russia needs to do is just wait. They don't
Yeah.
even need to do. They don't even need to go to the offensive. All they need to do is just hold their line and wait till the West is weakest, because time is working against the West now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only risk, the only other risk is, the longer it goes on, the more chance there is for somebody in the West to do something stupid because they get desperate.
Yeah,
But-
Poland.
But Russia, it plays to Russia's advantage totally. It's like, because they can move or they can not move, and Ukraine's just going to keep throwing shit at them, and they can just sit there if they want, or they can move forward, and they'll pick the time and place when they do it. I mean, send in 100 cruise missiles, then send in the artillery, then roll in the tanks. I mean, they haven't done that yet, and I think we're all surprised they haven't. I mean, I am. I figured they would have fucking rolled in like, you expect them to go by their doctrine, massive artillery and rockets, and then, just mechanized units just moving in and blowing the shit out of everything.
the Russians.
Well, yeah, the
Yeah,
Russians.
I mean, I think we're all surprised they didn't do that. And I mean, it's like they could do it any time, really, if they want. Especially now with all the call-ups and the gathering of forces. It's like,
Do you think we're gonna see this?
They can do it or not do it, but it's their choice.
Do you think we're gonna see what you say? What we perceive of how the Russians will fight? In 2 weeks time.
Well, I don't think so, Wyatt, for the very simple reason that Russia still sees Ukrainians as Russians. They still see them as their own people. When the Russians are killing the Ukraine armed forces, they see them as they're somewhat killing their own armed forces. You see, because Russia really wants to use the armed forces of Ukraine against the West. That's all the point. That's why all this war is happening now. Because in the Soviet Union, every country, after like the Third Amendment of the Soviet Constitution, every Soviet has his own military, and the Ukrainian military was like the third or the fourth military of the world, by sheer force and might. Okay, by navy, fleet, navy, tanks, personnel, everything.
I think outside
They had strategic bombers. They had nukes. They had nukes. They had submarines. Okay. You see, so why this war is happening now is to get Russia or to get the West. Somebody needs to control the huge forces in Ukraine. They are like the huge fist in Europe, okay, to swing against each other. So whoever controls this massive population, massive soldiers, a mass amount of soldiers, will win Europe. And that's what the West wants. It doesn't want the Ukrainian resources. They can get it from Africa, for example. They don't give a shit. What they want is the people, just the sheer fighting force. That's what's happening there. They wanted the Soviet weapons, and they wanted the ex-Soviet people to fight for against other ex-Soviet people. Okay, they're using the same equipment. They're the same people fighting each other. That's a crazy thing.
I got a feeling that Poland is actually very happy about the war. Because imagine you have Ukraine next to you, and they have a military that is actually slightly bigger than yours, and it's always
slightly by a lot.
Yeah.
The Ukrainian military before this war could just go take a piss in Berlin. They don't give a shit. They go take a piss in Berlin. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I'm gonna fuck you up.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. In Poland's
they only had 40 tanks.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. In Poland's perspective, this war has been a godsend to them. They have one giant potential enemy, totally weakened, and now dependent on them, politically, diplomatically, financially.
And now they just can go in.
Yeah. They haven't gone in militarily yet. Right?
No, I told you there are going to be treaties, and the Polish will be like peace guards or something like that.
They're currently already BFF, right?
BFF.
So it'll be a force like they sent into Serbia or something. It'll be like
something like that. Yeah.
But do you think we will see them annexing Ukraine or parts of
Ukraine? Oh no, it will be a puppet microstate.
And think about it too. I mean, if Russia can control that some and say, hey, you can garrison or police this section of Ukraine, but it can only be like he wanted Slavic troops only, no Western troops, no English Americans. I mean, Poland would be like, oh yeah, we'll do that. I mean, they're just waiting for their opportunity, I guess.
Oh, they're waiting to pounce because they're jackals, man. They're fuck, man. That's Poland for you. They always do that.
Guys, I gotta hop off, but Wyatt, thanks for all you do, man.
Thank you for coming,
Yeah,
man.
see you. Thank you.
Man.
Thank you.
We'll talk to
You
you.
guys.
I'll see you again in the
Hopefully,
future.
yeah, for sure. I'll be watching either way.
All right.
Right.
See you. So we are currently. Whoops. Who's that?
Motherfucker.
Okay.
Oh, he's
So-
some dumbass.
We are 2.5 hours in. Do you two still want to talk about anything?
I'm good either way. If y'all want to hop off, that's fine. If not, I'll shoot the shit about
Yeah,
what
I think
Okay,
the-
one more topic, guys.
Sure.
Cool.
Oh, I thought you will bring something up.
Load the
What,
truck, man. You need a few RPGs there.
Oh yeah, I think one will do.
Doesn't everybody?
Or
No.
an in-law. Yeah.
I'd love to go on a fucking road trip over there and pick shit up. That'd be fun.
Oh yeah. So do you think Belarus will get into the war? Because a lot of talk about Belarus now, right? And then they have this something that I don't really understand. They say that there's a certain force has been taken out and joined the Russian side, and it's supposed to be some peacekeeping, yet it's not. I don't know what the hell is happening actually.
Well,
What do you think?
well, if Russia decided to fuck them up, okay, let's assume Russia decided to fuck them up. Okay, they decided to go like, let's fuck them up. Okay, let's knock their shit out. If that's the case, I would assume I thought if Russia wanted to end this like very quickly in the beginning, in the very much beginning, like in the first month, I imagined this to go like this. The Eastern Front is fortified. You cannot go through. It's fortified. You don't need to advance. You just stand your ground, and you make your enemy attack you. Okay, and the harder you make them attack you, the more people they need, and then it's harder for them to defend other fronts. Okay. So you fortify the Eastern Front, and then you take the southern Ukraine. You take Odessa. And then you come from Belarus, okay, and you take the entirety of Ukraine in a huge pincer movement, okay. That's what I thought they would do. Like seriously, like 500,000 soldiers coming from one side, 500,000 soldiers coming from the other side, and another 500,000 finishing them off.
Which is why I was surprised that they stopped. Also the number of forces that they sent in was like only 200,000. Because I also expected that they will continue on, but they just don't have enough troops, and then they stopped.
They don't need to.
Mykolaiv.
The Russians don't need to advance. The Ukrainians are now giving all they can, and they just can't break through. They can't do anything.
Yeah, which is why
any strategic gain is not strategic. They just like got like a bunch of like fields and a few villages. Like wow, oh my god.
Which is why I'm very curious what's to come in 2 weeks, 1 month's time, when the full 300,000. I heard
the Russians are waiting. The Russians are just waiting.
I heard the mobilization will be finishing in 2 weeks' time. The mobilization.
I didn't read about it. I didn't read about it. It doesn't matter.
Kind of saw it.
It doesn't matter.
Yes.
The Russians can do whatever the fuck they want.
Which means that they will get all the forces in 1 month's time. Finish training.
Probably.
So
Probably.
then give them, let's say, 2 weeks to deploy into Ukraine. That would be like
they're deploying in
December?
Belarus too.
Which means it's a winter offensive if they actually go into an offensive.
If they even need to go.
I gotta
into
hop
offensive.
off, so I'll talk to y'all later.
Yeah, see you,
All
Festus.
Y'all
See
take
you.
care. I wanted to jump in on this, but I gotta go, so I'll talk to you later.
Yeah,
Take
see
care.
you, man. See you, man.
Bye-bye. His house looks like a factory. Oh
Maybe it's-
God,
maybe it's in war,
Joshua!
Oh, Joshua!
You
hey,
came in when
man.
we are trying to.
Why did you come now, man? I want to go now.
Oh, you're trying to go?
Yeah. Oh, that's a nice baby.
Which
Oh,
means
so-
that next time I should start the stream much later.
Oh
No, if
no,
you're
I
going,
know.
you're going.
It's so late. It's so late now. Oh
What
my
time
God.
is it for you, Joshua?
It's 1:20 p.m. or 13:20
PM. So that's actually that means I'm not too early.
No,
It's 9:30 in my place. 9:20.
Hi,
Where are you?
Billy.
I'm Israel.
Israel. What the fuck?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. What the heck?
What is the kind of reaction? Is that Israel? What the fuck?
You get people from so many places. It's wild.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
I'm
beautiful.
amazed.
Well, I'm surprised how few. I mean, pleasantly surprised how few Americans actually show up on your stream. It's nice that there's more of an international thing.
Yeah, I think maybe because the timing. Because if I go any later, then I think there will be a lot more Americans. If I go earlier, we'll probably have more Africans. Because the previous stream, I think we started I think 2 hours earlier, 1 to 2 hours earlier, and then we have a few Africans.
Okay. So you really wait? I had a question I want to bounce off Daniel, unless you really got to go now right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, sure,
Because
man.
you're wicked smart. So is Wyatt. But so I actually was listening to you guys. I was doing stuff around the house, but I heard you mention like that Russia doesn't have to move, right? They can just sit still for the winter. And like I feel like I don't think that it could stop where things are right now. So do you think
They are not.
What's that?
They're not stopping anymore. They're not stopping anymore.
Yeah.
So they, I think before the Ukrainian offensive, where they lost where Russia lost the entire Kharkiv region, the Russians are still hoping that there could be some negotiations of sorts. But ever since I think the offensive, the Russians just decided, F it, man. So they decided on do the mobilization and annex the territories. And this is the kind of feeling that I get, that the Russians just like, forget it, we're not going to negotiate anymore, and then they change everything.
Right.
So that's the feeling I get.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of. So what do you disagree with that, Daniel?
We don't know. We don't know. It depends on how pissed off the Russians are. But the Russians are very smart. They know the U.S. is trying to provoke them into a major scale conflict when they are not really ready for it. Neither is the U.S. So the Russians will not be provoked. They will not be provoked. They're not stupid. Time is on their side.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just kind of scared for it all because I don't see how they don't at least they have to push to the Dnieper, right? Like they can't share a land border anymore.
They don't need to. Okay, they don't need to. If the regime falls, Ukraine disintegrates into states, all right, and pretty much all the states, the east of the Dnieper, some of them even west of the Dnieper, will just be Russia-centric. Some of them might join Poland or something. Some of them might join Poland too, just willingly.
Might join who? Oh, Poland?
Yeah, some will just join Russia. Some will be independent. Some will join Poland.
I didn't have to leave.
Vaun is back.
That feels like
I didn't have to leave. I didn't have to leave. I thought I did, but.
So this baby is going to be a geopolitical
so guys,
prodigy.
did you watch the Zelensky show, the one when he became president, like the House of Cards, but the comedy House of Cards? So it's on Netflix and it's also free on YouTube, right? It's called Servant of the People. So it's funny because it's shot in Russian, but I really recommend this show because it's funny. But there's a lot of inside jokes, so you won't understand as an English speaker. But it's a really good show to represent to you what actually is the inside politics of Ukraine, and see how naive it is when you're used to all this brutal shit in the West. And it looks like a show, but it's actually how it is. Really, actually, how it turned out in the end. Zelensky, the actor, became president, the actor. So yeah, nothing changed from the. So what is happening now is the sequel to the show.
Yeah.
I'm
Final
not kidding,
season.
man. Just watch the show. Watch the show, man.
But do you feel like the show?
It's the
It's
final
very
season.
entertaining. It's a
Right,
very
right.
fun.
Do you feel
It's
you
a
feel
very
like
fun
the show
show.
kind of encompassed Ukraine, both east and west at the time, and now Ukraine's just kind of west Ukraine now, huh? So is there a difference now? Contextually, I guess.
Can you clarify the question? I don't quite
So
understand that.
I feel like when you're saying the show was reflecting of.
Oh no, no. Actually, the show was reflecting one whole Ukraine, not east-west, just one Ukraine.
No, I know that's my point though. So now that Ukraine is kind of just West Ukraine, is that I don't know if it translates so well anymore, huh? Or maybe it does.
Okay, the idea they try to explore in the show is that eventually Ukraine disintegrates into microstates. It's a very like a microstate dystopia when everybody disagrees with each other and nobody can work with each other. That's the initial idea of Ukrainian neutrality was to form a federation state, a federative state like the US or Russia. Because let's be honest, Ukraine is fucking huge. I don't think it justifies a federation, but that was the vision. Okay, Ukraine will remain a neutral state, a federation when everybody's interests are represented equally. And it's just not how it turned out. It turned out just the other way around. The west of Ukraine just took over, and they're not even half of the population.
What's the show's name again?
Servant of the people.
So, like when they were talking about
that's the name. That's also the name of Zelensky's party, political party. Servant of the people.
No, I was gonna say, like when you were talking about Ukraine being like a federation, so would they just break it up like they did with Zaporizhia, LPR? So you'd have like,
Ukraine is already broken up.
No, but I mean, would they like make little individual states out of each oblast, basically, or?
Yeah, each oblast is basically a state. Okay, it's a Soviet. Okay, it's basically a state. It's self-governing, so they can literally just go independent if they wanted to, like the DPR did or the LPR did.
So they'd be an oblast would be modeled after like an American state. You know,
that's exactly what it is. An oblast, exactly. An oblast is an American state. Yeah, it's the same as Russia, by the way.
Okay.
So that's it.
That's I mean, I don't know. I just
we have tried out.
I'm just scared for what's gonna happen next. I think like Daniel said, with not formally part of Poland, but I just don't know. I don't know how they share a land border anymore, man. I don't know how it happens. I think the best thing they can do is control as much advantageous territory as they can, so that inevitably once NATO comes in, whatever's left is just gonna.
Well, there is a scenario where the Dnieper River becomes like the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, that's what I see. Kind of.
It's possible. It could be better. It could be worse, but it's possible.
Yes, my own presumption is that the Russians will continue to invade further, and then they will create a lot of those additional Transnistrias, and then make sure that they have no common border with Ukraine anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they will be buffered with all these people's republics, so that anytime they can actually invade in and to help these guys against any Ukrainian incursions or whatever. Just let the whole situation get stuck.
I could easily see kind of NATO doing what Russia's doing now. Like they all of a sudden they have a red line and they'll start and they get happy with it, then Russian is a position of how hard do we back them up and let that. That's dirty. That's not good.
Yeah, which is why we never want a war to start at all, because once it starts, everything goes goes south, and then a lot of horrible tragedies will happen, and you don't know when to stop. Is stopping a war is actually very difficult, which is why I always say why Ukraine cannot win the war, because if you cannot invade all the way to Moscow, how are you going to win the war? There's no way you can stop Russia from continue to fight. Just like now Russia cannot stop Ukraine from fighting because the Russians are not conquering Kiev. So as a result, Zelensky continue to fight on.
Yeah.
The Russians don't want to destroy Kiev. They don't need to.
Yeah.
It's a historical Russian legacy city. It's like Jerusalem for them. They don't want to destroy it.
Yeah.
And then let's see. Do you think the U.S. is gonna kind of step up?
The U.S. would like to destroy it. Yeah.
Salafists and Wahhabis in Central Asia now to try to. I mean, we already do it, but just kind of supercharged.
Do you know that Wahhabis are actually fighting now?
I know they're
Ukraine?
fighting. I'm
inside Ukraine. Chechens, actually.
Wahhabis, inside
Chechens.
Ukraine, yeah.
Inside Ukraine, fighting the other Chechens, the real Chechen.
But I guess I'm just wondering if you guys see us just supercharging kind of Central Asia and trying our best to destabilize in that direction.
I
think Ukraine's kind of exhausted.
They are trying to destabilize Georgia,
but it's very hard.
Destabilize Armenia, destabilize Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, and Kazakhstan. They're trying their best, actually. At the beginning of the year, they tried to instate a coup in Kazakhstan, and the Russians helped. The Russians just helped them. The fucker, Putin doesn't like him, and the fucker doesn't like Putin either. They always disagree with each other. They call each other names, and Putin just comes helping him with militarily. Yeah, I'll help you against the American coup. I don't like you. You don't like me. I will help you, and I'll go out. And that's it. They just helped them. They stopped the coup, and just Putin went out of Kazakhstan.
I think because they don't have a easy route to bring in the agents or whatever, the forces or the weaponries into Central Asia. Not so easy. A lot more difficult, which is why it's not so easy to cause trouble in that places. But Armenia, Azerbaijan, they have sea routes. Then they have Turkey, so a lot easier to go there to cause problems. I think the inner lands, the inner countries are much more difficult. That's how I look at it. And there's nothing there. This is it's like the recent fight. What country are these? Tajikistan, is it?
Yeah,
like
Tajikistan
they're
and
fighting
Armenia,
fighting over nothing. It's just
pretty much.
Like the mountains.
They're fighting over who is going to build the American base. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So it's like the war, the fighting just came out of nowhere, right? Then I was like, huh? Where the hell are they fighting? And then in the end,
bullshit in Serbia, the
and then they stopped fighting.
Yeah, the CIA is trying. The CIA is trying really hard, and I think what's happening is that people are just like, "Hey guys, why should we be helping you? What do we get from this? Like, get the fuck out!"
And then they just stop fighting. All of a sudden.
They just stop fighting.
Then after that, I don't even know what was the point of the entire fighting at the first place. I was like, what?
It's like, what's the point of Russians fighting Ukrainians? What the fuck?
I mean, that also gets kind of scary on its own, though. If CIA just does effort, and it just doesn't work, then it means we have to do something else on probably a much bigger scale, something direct. And so I don't know where that would be.
I'm really anxious about that too, because America is now, you see, America likes to spin in the mass media like what they're doing, but say Russia is doing it. Like Putin is a scared, cornered cat. Like Putin is like a Like actually, it's a Freudian slip with the lies. They are actually the cornered, scared cat, because they don't know what to do. They're gonna run out of energy. They're gonna run out of oil. They're gonna run out of fucking gas. They're gonna run out of fucking ammunition for their guns, because all the people are gonna kill each other. Because it's an unstable country. It's an energy dependent country. It's an import-dependent country. America doesn't export anything. Okay, the U.S. dollar is based on nothing. It's based on nothing. America just prints dollars and imports a lot of stuff from other countries, basically for free, with money they just made up, with monopoly money. Okay, you can import a lot of shit from other countries and basically pay nothing for it. Does this make sense? Is this capitalism for you, man? Steal other people's shit? That's not capitalism.
Yeah, you Americans suck, man. It's all your fault.
No,
Well,
it's
I mean,
not.
I mean-
You Americans need to get your shit together and say the guys, whoever runs you. I mean, I don't know who. Get the fuck out of here, man. Get inside your lizard cave and stay there.
There's no way. There's
Yeah,
no way to hold.
You just need to find out who the fuck this fucker is and go beat his ass.
I'll get on
Give
it.
him some chaos, man.
Even if he's a UFO laser shooting lizard guy, go fuck him up, man. Go fuck him up, man. Go fuck him up. Come on, man. The average American is born with a probe up his ass. Come on.
Hey.
That's fair.
So let's go on
It's
for
not
the
alive.
most
It's not alive.
another 10 minutes so that we don't go more than 3 hours. So that I can go and do other work.
That's cool.
You guys can bounce whenever. I didn't know
I
I
guess-
was going this late. That's my bad.
So what happened is that I feel very bad, because last week I wanted to do, and I was like, I need to work. So I postponed. And then luckily I postponed because my daughter fall sick. Then I was like, whoa, chaos. Then today I also very busy. I was like, I cannot postpone again, later, it's not so nice. Like Vaun was like in the backstage saying that I don't think it's gonna happen. I think he's busy.
He's just chilling. Like, what's
I was like, whoa. So
Well, somebody asked what you were doing. I was like, well, he's probably busy. Because people freak out like if you ain't on like exactly on time. It's like they don't realize you might be having an issue or getting something together, or maybe you're trying to get somebody to come in like a guest. It's like, I mean, we don't really know what's going on. It's just like Ukraine, here's a video of something going on. This is what happened. I mean, it was just funny because people are like, where is he? Is he gonna do it? It's like 30 seconds after he said he's gonna be here. Shit.
that's what happened to the World War III stream. There's once I forgot to postpone the date. Then I think people was waiting for it. Then I didn't appear because I didn't even know that
Did it start?
it was a scheduled time.
Yeah, it started 29 minutes ago. You're fucked.
Oh, by the way, guys, I started watching the Oliver Stone documentary, Ukraine Unraveled.
They're on fire.
So it's there is Ukraine on fire. He did that, and then it's a new one. He did it like half a year ago, before the war started, like in March, I think, or after the war started. I'm not sure. I'm not really sure. It's called Ukraine Unraveled. It's like a sequel to Ukraine on Fire. It's amazing, man. I started watching it like, oh my god, man, it's sick.
Not to watch that.
Go watch it, man. Oliver Stone shit is on point.
Oliver Stone.
Oliver Stone, yeah. Oliver Stone. He did 3-part Putin interview. Each one is like an hour and a half. He just talks with Putin, man.
Yeah, I saw those. I mean, it was like it's like I watched that and it's like you get an understanding of where he's coming from. It's like, do our diplomats watch this shit and even try to figure the dude out or understand his point of view? It's like,
I'm not sure if it's uncovered or unraveled. Actually, let me just paste the link for you guys. It's a good one. Did you watch the Tulsi Gabbard podcast with Joe Rogan?
I saw her leaving.
Oh, it's so good, man. You should watch the entire thing.
Hey, did anyone ever hear what happened to that orgy they were supposed to have in Ukraine on some like last week? I'm not even joking. They like said they were renting apartments out that overlooked the park, and I was like, man, I'm sure they're gonna put a cruise missile on that motherfucker.
No, that's what they're thinking about. They have Armageddon, and that's what they're thinking about. Like,
exactly. It's like, let's have an orgy in a park. Yeah, let's put an S-300.
15,000 people, right? I heard.
Oh, jeez, Louise.
Trying to get a clear picture in your head. I want to see.
They said there was going to be like 15,000 people showing up. I was like, what?
Oh,
it was like a concert. It was like a festival or something. It was like some kind of festival.
It's this one. It's revealing Ukraine.
Okay.
Should be a good one. It has snippets from the Putin interviews and snippets from the Ukraine on Fire. It's actually it's built around an interview with Medvedchuk and his wife. It's so interesting. So interesting.
That was where Putin was just driving him around, right?
Yeah. It's where Putin was just driving him around. Yes, yeah.
That's
It's the
awesome.
the Putin interviews.
You ask the
Amazing,
wrong
amazing.
question, you get dropped off.
No.
Yeah.
You would just think it's Russian propaganda, but Oliver Stone is like he's throwing some hard balls there, like some really tough questions for Putin to answer. Yeah, he's not going soft on Putin there. No,
Nah, I mean,
no.
you gotta respect that. It's like he'll take the questions and not, give you
Yeah,
some.
Putin just
shit.
answers. Putin just answers honestly, as far as he can, like without risking his reputation or whatever. But he
Yeah.
just answers him.
Like
That's
here,
amazing.
you
That's
ask them a
amazing.
hard question and they turn it around like, "Why are you attacking me?" It's like I'm just
Like,
asking.
oh my god, Jessica, stop insulting me. But yeah, Putin just answers, man. They're just like, yeah, that's what I think. That's the truth, and you just gotta deal with it.
And I think that's one reason why a lot of people respect him, even if we don't support Russia or we don't understand. I think they look at a guy. It's like, hey, the guy's it's like the Trump effect. Plain spoken. He speaks his mind. He doesn't bullshit you around. He tells you what he thinks, and he does what he says he's going to do. And I think a lot of people respect that. A lot of people hate it because it means that you got to accept accountability.
Yeah.
Well, guys,
I
I really need to go. I'm getting the
All right.
tears, so
So let's
see you
close the
guys.
stream. Shall we close the stream? So
All
let's
right.
close the stream.
Yeah, so it was
Okay.
very
See you
fun
guys.
talking to you. See you guys. See you guys next time.
All right. Take
Bye-bye.
care.
Take
Bye.
care, guys.
Bye.
Don't be too anxious.
Bye,
Cope
people.
well. Cope well. Use
Cope,
some
cope, cope.
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 Captain
Nice
Cope.
cope.
Nice cope, man. Bye bye.
Nice cope,
Bye.
people.
All right. See ya.
Bye. So thank you for watching for the the 6th episode of the OpenMic. Very mind blowing. Very chaotic. Like now I have some phobia with the word chaos. But it's okay. It is valid point of views. Just that I share certain things in terms of the views, but from a different angle. And so this one is purely for the patrons on the DPA Patreon. You can find it in the pin message. How to become part of the patrons. Probably in the future you'll be alternating between open up to the public and only for patrons. So thinking around like this, because so far from the past few ones that putting on Discord or Telegram doesn't really matter. It's still the same few people coming up. So I think putting on the open one probably will get more people. And yeah. So anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you the 59 people of you. Thank you TV Reese, Ryan Garcia, Mason Miet, NGS, HB, and the Human Condition for the super chat. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the participants that appear on the open mic. And I think it's another successful episode. And thank you. And I will see you in the next update. Ciao.